Chapter 81, Xuanwu Jingtao Palm, the sudden appearance of the heavenly spiritual root. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Guan was a little unhappy when he heard that Lian was injured. This guy was a little too harsh, and now he is still belittling Lian. Before, Guan thought that even if Lu Xian defeated Lian, he would show mercy for Li Xuandao's sake. He didn't expect that this guy was so arrogant, and his tone didn't even take Li Xuandao seriously. Lian appeared in front of Lu Xian out of thin air, frowned and asked, "Why do you want to hurt His Highness? Can't you knock him out?" It is obvious that Li Xuandao often mentioned Lian in front of him. What's wrong? Can't you hurt him? He is not the prince, and he is far inferior to the prince. Lu Xian frowned and asked back. His tone was very dissatisfied. Even if he is not the prince, he is still the prince that His Majesty cares about. Lian's tone was a little heavy. Luohan was silent, and from his face, he was obviously very unhappy. Lu Xian snorted, "Not allowed. Then beat me up and break my hands and feet." At this time, he saw Guan coming, and he was immediately excited and immediately went to meet him. "Valley Master, I have won the championship of the 100 Clan Conference. How about it? Practice with me?" Lv Xian said, taking out a golden token from the storage bag on his waist, which read the champion of the hidden dragon list. Guan nodded and said, "Then learn." Lv Xian immediately pulled him aside when he heard it. Lian looked at Luohan and asked, "Should I tell His Majesty about this?" Luohan thought for a while and said, "No, His Majesty must have sent someone to keep an eye on His Highness Lian." Lian sighed, shook his head, and disappeared on the spot. Guan followed Lv Xian to an open space, and 3 monkey demons followed and stood by to watch curiously. "What kind of magic do you like?" Lv Xian asked, rubbing his hands, eager to try. "Except for swordsmanship, everything is fine." Guan replied that this matter was agreed upon before, and he didn't want to break his promise, but one thing is one thing. Lv Xian hurt Lian and couldn't let it go. "Then I will teach you the palm technique. I have a very strong palm technique, and I used this move to break Lian's hands and feet." Lu Xian smiled proudly. After saying that, he glared at Lian in the distance, obviously speaking to Lian. Guan nodded and said, "Then teach me, let me see how powerful you are." Lu Xian immediately began to teach the palm technique, while demonstrating the moves and explaining the mind method. Xuanwu Jingtao Palm. The name sounds very domineering. Guan watched carefully, prepared to torture Lu Xian. The sun was shining high and gradually set in the west. Until the evening, Lu Xian said with a look of collapse, "Do you really not remember, or are you deliberately messing with me?" His voice was so loud that Luohan and Lian hurried over, fearing that he would take action. Guan sighed and said, "I've said it before, my aptitude and comprehension are very poor. You don't believe me, and you insist on teaching me. I'm in a hurry to teach you." "No. No matter how stupid you are, you can't be that stupid, right?" Lv Xian couldn't understand, but Guan didn't seem to be pretending. Lian said, "The Valley Master's cultivation is accumulated by elixirs." "I understand. I told you a long time ago that you shouldn't always persuade others. Everyone's situation is different." Luohan reminded, "Your Majesty values his planting ability." He emphasized the word value. Lv Xian took a deep breath and said, "I don't believe it. I must teach him." Guan hurriedly said, "Next time, I have to go back." "You are not allowed to leave." Guan turned around and left when he heard it. Lian and the others hurriedly stopped Lu Xian. "Damn it, Valley Master, you must come back. If you practice the black tortoise shocking palm, you will have the power to protect yourself, and even fight for destiny and step onto a higher level." Lv Xian looked at Guan's back and shouted loudly. Guan couldn't understand him. He was cruel to his opponents, but he liked to teach people to practice. Did he have schizophrenia because of his dream? Guan thought as he flew away on his sword and disappeared quickly into the dusk. In the days that followed, every time Guan came, Lu Xian would teach him magic. No matter how he taught, he couldn't learn it, but Lu Xian didn't give up. If he couldn't teach this magic, he would teach others. Time flies, the end of the year is here. heavy snow covered the mountains and forests. Guan, dressed in white and wearing a mask, walked out of the mountains and forests, followed by two people, an Hao and an Xian. An Hao, who was always lively, was silent at this moment. Guan stopped and looked at the snow-capped mountains ahead. He said, "We will reach the outer gate of Taixuan sect a few hundred miles further. When you show your spiritual power, they will take you into the city to test your spiritual roots." An Xian's eyes were red, and he couldn't help asking, "Master, when can we meet again? I saved you just by chance. This is a fate that shouldn't have happened. We can't meet again in the future, and you can't mention me to anyone." Guan said with his back to them. He taught an Hao and an Xian to practice, and he really had no purpose, just on a whim. He didn't need them to repay him, and hoped that this relationship would end here. And Hao suddenly knelt down, and an Xian followed him to kneel on the ground, and the two kowtowed to Guan. This time, Guan didn't stop them. He endured their 3 kowtows. An Hao's forehead was directly broken, bloody, but he didn't feel any pain at all, and looked at his master's back with a firm look. He will never forget the horror experience in the monster cave and the despair when facing the wolf monster. "Master, no matter who you are, I will always remember your kindness. I will work hard to practice, become famous all over the world, and become the most powerful person in the world. If you hear my name at that time, there is something you need me to do. Even if you come to me, I will never give up," An Hao said in a deep voice. He had just turned 14, but he looked more determined than an adult man. Guan waved his sleeves, and the wind and snow swept from the horizon, causing an Hao to subconsciously raise their arms to cover their faces. "If you want to help me, you have to live 1,000 years first." Guan's voice drifted far away in the wind. When the wind and snow passed by, the two of them looked up and saw that he was no longer there. An Xian couldn't help but look at an Hao, waiting for him to make a decision. He stood up, looked towards the horizon, and whispered softly, "An Xian, we must not let master down." An Xian nodded solemnly, and the brother and sister moved forward. The flying snow in front of them seemed to be swallowing them up. Guan returned to Xian Valley. He first checked the herbs in Xuanwu, and then walked back to his attic. From the beginning to the end, his consciousness was locked on an Hao. Although the two of them were less than 300 miles apart from Taixuanmen, he was still a little worried. After all, Taixuanmen was now a mixed bag. In the next few days, no matter where he went or what he did, he would use his consciousness to stare at an Hao and the two until they successfully arrived at the outer gate of Taixuan Gate. After the young an Hao showed his cultivation at the 9th level of the Qi training realm, he suddenly alerted the elders of the outer gate city, and the elders received them personally. The reason why we chose the nearby outer gate city was mainly because there were many great monks in the city, so an Hao would not be plotted against or had his body taken away from him. The new year has arrived, the spring festival. Xuanwu, Guan, Lian, Zhenqin, Wu Xian, Xiao Chuan, Tang Yu and others sat around a long table to celebrate the festival, while other servant disciples sat at another table, each drinking and mingling with each other. "Have you heard? Recently, the outer sect has recruited a disciple of Tianlingen. Even the elders in the main city of the sect have been alerted. The man's name is an Hao. He is only 14 years old this year and is about to build a foundation. It's unbelievable. Compared with him, I feel like I've trained like a pig." Zhenqin squeezed the wine bowl and said in wonder, "Tianlingen." Everyone else was attracted, and Wu Xian couldn't help but ask, "True or false? The Taixuan dynasty has not had a Tianlingen for hundreds of years." "It is indeed true. Our law enforcement hall guarded him for a few days until he was picked up by the sect master." Lian nodded. She was calmer than Zhenqin. Everyone kept discussing around Tianlingen, and Wu Xian told many legends, which made Lian frown. "How does this kid know so much? Is there any problem?" Lian looked at Wu Xian and silently thought that although she and Wu Xian had known each other for many years, people would change. No, she had to check the records of enlightenment. Guan couldn't help but smile as he listened to everyone talking about and how. There is another interesting thing to look forward to in the future farming days, which is to see how high and how can grow. After chatting for a long time, the topic shifted to the world of immortality. It was said that there was a monster disaster happening in Luo. Zhangzhou. A monster assassinated the emperor. The emperor was lucky enough to survive. Long Yen was furious and was investigating the matter. A whole family had already been executed. Guan knew that Li Xiandao was hiding his cultivation at the 9th level of the transformation realm, so he was not worried at all, but listened with great interest. It's the new year, bidding farewell to the old and welcoming the new. The joy of this night lasts until dawn. When the sun rises, Yilan and Zhenqin leave. Guan did not leave Xuanwu immediately, but quietly entered the Baitian cave to bring delicious food to Haolong. Under the tsang tree, Haolong was very happy to see Guan arriving and swam quickly around him. Now it was nearly 2 feet long, and its horns had completely grown out. It looked like a real dragon, with the black dragon on its body. The scales flashed with cold light. "Master, when can you take me out?" Haolong asked pitifully, rubbing Guan's face. Guan rubbed its head and smiled. "Didn't I say that when you grow up, there will be many people outside looking at your meat, just like you look at mutton? No matter how big you are, I feel like I'm already very strong now. Master, you may not even be my opponent." Haolong said aggrievedly. Although Guan had practiced swordplay under a tree, he had never shown any strength, and even Haolong didn't know his true strength. When Guan heard what it said, he felt that it really couldn't go on like this. "I'll think of another way." Guan said thoughtfully. He decided to go to Jiangqiong to see if Jiangqiong knew the art of transformation and turn Haolong into a snake so that he could follow him out. When Haolong heard this, he was immediately happy and even cheered, making Guan laugh. After staying in Beijing Dongshan for an hour, Guan left. The reason why he left so quickly was because he caught a familiar aura approaching Xuanwu. Guan returned to the attic and pretended to read a book. Not long after, a figure jumped in from the window. Before the person landed, his voice rang out, "Junior brother Gu, guess what treasure I brought back for you?" Thanks, I just asked for a reward of 233 starting coins. Chapter 82, Ancient Gold-Eating Bugs, the Demons Besiege Taixuanmen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Guan looked at Lian who came in through the window and said helplessly, "What treasure is better than my window sill?" Lian, who was dressed in green clothes, walked to the table, took out a bag from his waist, put it on the table, and said with a proud smile, "You will definitely like this baby." Guan used his spiritual sense to investigate, frowned, and asked, "Why are they insects?" "This is an ancient gold-eating worm. Its teeth can chew through all the gold, iron, and ores in the world. If you feed them metallic spiritual energy, it can also help them become stronger. There are 16 in total, 1 female worm, 4 viewing. The home care hospital is quite good and can help you dig the ground," Lian said with a smile. When Guan heard this, he immediately became interested and asked curiously, "How do you identify the owner of this thing?" "There is a special way to identify the master, and you have to drop sperm and blood to the mother worm to establish a soul relationship with the mother worm," Lian said with a smile, and he took out a thin secret book from his storage bag and gave it to Guan. Guan took it and did not open it immediately, but asked, "How is it? Did the 100 Clans conference go well?" Lian took a chair from the side, sat opposite Guan, and said with emotion, "It's not smooth, but it's an eye-opener. There are really so many masters in the world, and there are as many geniuses as crucian carp crossing the river. My talent is so great. It's nothing at all in the 100 Clans conference. The geniuses of the 9 dynasties and hundreds of clans gathered together, and I could only make it into the top 100, while Zhou Tongyu only made it into the top 10. Seeing how optimistic he looked, Guan felt less worried. Lian began to talk about what he saw and heard at the 100 Tribes conference, and Guan listened carefully. Halfway through the conversation, Guan got up and poured some wine, drinking and listening at the same time. He continued talking until dusk, but Lian still hadn't finished speaking. Guan sighed, "So, only our third lady can threaten Lu Xian. Her Qilin steps are indeed powerful. She was the only one who injured Lu Xian. It's a pity that she took 9 steps and suffered a catastrophe. She temporarily stopped the fight and hasn't seen her again since." Lian nodded. "Heavenly tribulation? What do you mean? Is the Qilin step that powerful?" Guan was surprised. "Let alone 9 steps, he had taken so many steps back and forth in the past 2 years without encountering a natural disaster. Lian shook his head and said, "How can I know? Maybe there is some secret hidden in her body. Innate Taoist talisman." Guan sighed inwardly, is this going to hang up? Compared to Ji Xiaoyu, Lu Xian's power shocks me the most. He will be my target next. I will challenge him and win back. Lian said with high spirits. Guan asked, "You just said that your hands and feet were broken by him. Don't you hate him?" Lian shook his head and said, "We are fighting in a normal way. What do we hate? Moreover, I was unwilling to admit defeat at that time. I learned from a senior that he was also a poor man. There were other remnant souls hidden in his body who wanted to snatch his body. So he sometimes seems abnormal, sometimes friendly and sometimes violent. Other remnant souls." Guan breathed a sigh of relief. If this was the case, then he would be relieved. He used to worry that Lu Xian was the reincarnation of an immortal, but now it doesn't sound like that. "What do you mean, why are there other remnant souls?" Guan asked confused. "I don't know. It may be related to a certain treasure, or it may have been snatched away. Anyway, he will continue to be tortured until the remaining souls in his body are cleaned out. No wonder I haven't heard of him in Taixuanmen sect before. Maybe he was taken away by someone. The Lu family is protecting him. By the way, his father is the previous sect leader Lu Baitian. LV Baitian went crazy while practicing martial arts, and his son was tortured by the remaining soul in his body. I don't know if it was a coincidence." Lian frowned and spoke. At the end of the sentence, he sighed and continued, "If Lu Xian was not affected by the remnant soul, he would have formed a nascent soul by now, and his strength would be unimaginable." Guan was happy, but he didn't expect that he would actually sympathize with Lu Xian. "By the way, who is the senior you are talking about? It feels so awesome." Guan asked pretending to be curious. "A senior who wishes to remain anonymous. I'm sorry, I can't tell." That's the old man inside you." Guan could feel that the soul in Lia's body was getting stronger. It suddenly occurred to him that he could feel the soul in Lia's body before he was in the fusion realm, and those great monks in the crossing void realm should also be able to sense it. Judging from Lia's tone, no one seems to have noticed this. Is it because the skills Guan practiced are too strong, or is it due to other reasons? Even though it was getting dark, Lian had no intention of leaving and continued to chat with Guan. He began to talk about the scenery he saw during this trip. Lian didn't leave until early the next morning. After he left, Guan picked up the secret book he left behind and began to study how to make the ancient gold-eating insect recognize its master. Under the clear sky, the third medicine valley, Guan stood in front of Mr. Tian and raised his right hand. He saw a golden bug lying on the back of his hand. At first glance, it looked like a scarab beetle, but its mouthparts were larger. The ancient gold-swallowing insect is very rare, at least it is difficult to encounter in the Taixuanmen dynasty. Mr. Tian praised. "My senior brother Lian gave this to me. He ranked among the top 100 in the 100 Tribes Conference. By the way, he brought this insect back to me so that he can help us patrol the Medicine Valley in the future." Guan said with a smile. Mentioning Lian in front of Mr. Tian, if Mr. Tian returns to the position of sect leader one day, he might be able to think of Lian and focus on cultivating him. Mr. Tian nodded and said, "It seems that this Lian is indeed a genius, and he values love and righteousness. One ancient gold-eating insect is worth a fortune, let alone 16. Guan opened the insect bag on his waist, and ancient gold-swallowing insects flew out one by one. One of them was twice as big as the others. It landed on his shoulder, and the other ancient gold-swallowing insects hovered around him. Xuanwu, who was passing by, couldn't help but come over, and Guan began to show off the insect. Until the evening, all the errand disciples of the Third Medicine Valley had seen the ancient gold-swallowing insect. Guan did this not just to show off, he was afraid that the errand disciples would attack the patrolling ancient gold-swallowing insects in the future. Spring went and autumn came, and 3 years passed quickly. Guan crossed the threshold of 50 years. In the past 3 years, his life was very peaceful and fulfilling. His lifespan has exceeded 300,000 years, and his lifespan harvest is still increasing every year. This day, Xiaochuan took Lian down from the teleportation array. Guan was teasing the white spirit rat that was as fat as a big dog. When he saw Lian coming, he immediately got up and went to greet her. Lian's face was not looking good. Facing Guan, she said, "Brother, let's talk inside." Guan nodded, and then took Lian upstairs. Xiaochuan walked towards the white rat, but the white rat turned and ran away, which made Xiaochuan so angry that he picked up a stone and threw it, but unfortunately, he missed. On the other side, Guan entered the house and closed the door. As soon as he turned around, he heard Lian speak, "Brother, Wu Xian is a spy of Qianqiu Pavilion." As soon as these words came out, Guan's face changed slightly. He frowned and asked, "Nonsense, what evidence do you have?" Lian took out a piece of paper and said, "These are all the disciples' information left by the demon exorcist hall. The person who brought Wu Xian into the sect was not a spy of the demon Dao, but if the relationship is pushed back, they are all spies of the demon Dao. Moreover, Qianqiu Pavilion has been looking for the son of a pavilion master for many years. That person happened to be a monk with an indelible scar on his head." Guan took it and checked it carefully. These papers also recorded who they had contact with on weekdays, including Wu Xian. Wu Xian visited them several times when he went to the outer gate city. "Stupid. Why can't you be more rigorous in doing things?" Guan cursed inwardly, but he was not panicked because it was Lian who found out about this. After reading it, he looked up at Lian and asked, "How many people know about this?" "At present, there is only me. On weekdays, the law enforcement hall will not investigate the menial disciples. We did find out that the owner of the outer gate Medicine Valley is a spy of Qianqiu Pavilion, but we haven't found out who it is. We want to continue investigating, but someone above doesn't allow us to investigate." Lian frowned and said unwillingly, "Who doesn't allow you to investigate?" "The outer gate elder, Jiang Qiong, but her people said that it was an order from the inner gate." Guan suddenly felt that Jiang Qiong was a good elder of the outer gate, and could protect him from the wind and rain. Although Guan had never done anything for Qianqiu Pavilion, he couldn't wash it clean with the Tsang Tingshu around, and he didn't want his peaceful farming life to be disturbed. Guan stepped forward, grabbed Lian's shoulders with both hands, took a deep breath, and said, "Junior sister, this matter must be suppressed. Even if Wu Xian comes from the devil, we have been together for so many years, and I believe he is not a bad person." Lian was caught by him, and her pretty face suddenly blushed. She lowered her eyes and said, "Senior brother, are you also from Qianqiu Pavilion? If so, I am willing to go with you." "How is it possible?" "I am a member of Taixuan sect in life and a ghost of Taixuan sect in death. I don't care, no matter which sect you go to in the future, you have to take me with you." "Then can you suppress this matter?" "Well, the other evidence has been destroyed by me, and only this one in your hand is left." Guan let go and threw the paper in his hand into the storage bag. "Don't destroy it yet, keep it just in case." Lian followed up and said, "This is actually a small matter. I know you will protect him. I came to you for another big thing. The demon sect is preparing to besiege Taixuan sect. This time it is real. Someone in the elder hall of the main city of the sect betrayed Taixuan sect. This is the information obtained by the spies arranged by the law enforcement hall in Wanyin sect. It has been informed to the higher-ups. The 4 inner gate cities are preparing for war. There are many great monks from other sects and dynasties in the outer gate. They have stayed in the outer gate for many years. It is not easy for Taixuan sect to drive them away. If the demon sect really attacks, the outer gate city may be very dangerous. Maybe there are demon spies waiting for internal and external cooperation. The demon sect is attacking?" Guan frowned and asked, "The number of disciples in Taixuan sect has increased dramatically in recent years. How dare they come? It is said that they have joined forces with the demon clan and are ready to destroy Taixuan sect together and divide the world of Taitsang dynasty equally." Lian replied with a serious face, "Join hands with the demon clan?" Guan was confused. Don't these demon sects know about the demon catastrophe that will come 100 years later? Lian left in a hurry after she said some more information. Guan personally sent her to the teleportation array from Xian Valley to the outer gate city to avoid breaking the rules. When Guan was about to go back to the house, he suddenly saw Tian Lao sitting under an old tree. Speaking of which, he hadn't checked on Tian Lao for a long time. This guy went to Baitian Tai before, and his cultivation level increased by 2 levels. After that, there was no movement at all, which was really strange, Guan thought while throwing a lifespan check. 3rd update. As always, I'm asking for monthly tickets and recommendation tickets. Chapter 83 The Battle Between Good and Evil, Protecting Medicine Valley. You are listening at novelfull.audio. LV Baitian, Jidan Realm Level 3754/1050/3200, Jidan Realm Level 3. Seeing that old Tian's cultivation level had risen so high, Guan was secretly shocked. In the future, he had to keep an eye on old Tian, lest he surpass him one day, and he didn't know it yet. Guan had discovered that the higher the realm, the more people practiced the qi gathering method, and it was difficult to judge the opponent's cultivation level by senses alone. In other words, the world of immortal cultivation was all about who could hide deeper. Fortunately, he hid deep enough, and he still had the confidence to continue hiding. Old Tian seemed to feel Guan's gaze, opened his eyes, looked at him, and he nodded slightly, then went back to the house. The demonic path was about to attack, but he was not panicked at all, and he did what he had to do. Taixuanmen sect was not a soft persimmon, not to mention that old Tian, the hidden sect master, was secretly exerting his strength. What Guan had to do was to protect his own medicine valley. In late summer, the weather was cool. Guan walked in the outer gate city and found that the number of disciples of the law enforcement hall in the city had increased greatly, and there were many spirit transformation auras on the city walls in all directions. The whole city exuded a tense and murderous atmosphere. The devil is really coming. As always, he went to the Tian Tai first to take a look. The Yellow Spring Demon King and the Epiphyllum Ghost Mother were still there. They were like ascetics, sitting alone, and there were no other demons with hidden identities around them. Guan always felt that the Yellow Spring Demon King might be related to the devil, but he couldn't spread the matter to avoid getting himself involved in the vortex. His goal was immortality. 10,000 years later, would there still be Taixuanmen in the world? He has never been a man of great righteousness in his heart, he is just an ordinary person. After a glance, Guan did not see any powerful strange faces. It seems that Taixuanmen has been very strict in controlling outsiders recently, only allowing outsiders to go out, not outsiders to come in. Then, Guan went to visit Jiang Qiong. Jiang Qiong was not in the mansion, and his servants asked him to wait in the hall. Guan stood in the hall and looked around. He could feel that there were very subtle restrictions in the hall, which could not be seen with the naked eye. He often read the Z-wave formation record that Jiang Qiong gave him. He had accumulated a lot of understanding of the formation, so he could see the doorway now. As he looked, Guan suddenly felt something and his expression was strange. There was a large space at the bottom of this mansion, just like the 8 scenery cave heaven under Xian Valley. An hour later, Jiang Qiong finally came back. After she walked into the hall, she waved her right hand and the door slammed shut. Guan stood up and looked at her. She walked to the first seat and sat down, saying, "No need to be polite, you sit down too." Her face was gloomy, and she obviously encountered something unpleasant. Guan took out a storage bag from his waist and put it on the table next to her, saying, "This is the first batch of mature herbs, you count them." Jiang Qiong's herbs are of high grade, so the first batch of herbs are only mature now. Jiang Qiong did not take the storage bag, but asked, "You should have other things to do, otherwise you can ask Xuanwu to count." Guan nodded and said, "I got the news that the demons are going to besiege Taixuanmen. Is it true?" "Ask the demons about this matter." Jiang Qiong nodded and said, "Yes, at most half a year, the battle between good and evil in the Taixuan dynasty will break out. The reason is that Taixuanmen has been growing stronger in recent years, which makes the demons uneasy. Secondly, with the help of the demons, the two sides will join forces and have hope of defeating Taixuanmen." Guan hesitated for a moment and said, "I heard that 100 years later, the demons outside the 9 dynasties will invade the 9 dynasties. Shouldn't we live in peace and work hard to practice at this time? Moreover, how can we trust the demons?" Hearing this, Jiang Qiong glanced at him, snorted, and said, "Do you think the demons are all of one mind?" The demons outside the 9 dynasties are not pure demons. If they come in, the demons will be defeated. They will also be massacred. Besides, when will the human race ever be truly united? Moreover, the more this happens, the more they will fight. The resources of the 9 dynasties' cultivation world are limited. The stronger the Taixuan sect is, the more it will squeeze the cultivation resources of other sections. Since ancient times, the so-called struggle between good and evil is actually a struggle for resources, but it is just a pretext. This time, the name of the war launched by the evil sect is the evil deeds of the Taixuan sect. You will hear it soon. When the people of the Taixuan sect are uneasy, the evil sect will launch an offensive. If it succeeds, the good and the evil will change from now on. If it fails, the Taixuan sect will not have the spare energy to destroy the evil sect. Hearing this, Guan was silent. He is the one who can feel this the most. Every time he breaks through, he will absorb a lot of spiritual energy, which will affect the Taixuan sect. If the spiritual energy and spiritual stones of the entire dynasty are concentrated in one sect, the hope of breakthrough for the rulers of the sect will be greater, so even if there are only 100 years left in the demon calamity, they will still fight. In other words, the great monks care not about the people of the world, but their own cultivation. As long as they are strong enough, they can even go south to the sea to seek immortal fate. Guan thought for a while and asked, Grandmaster, which side are you on? Jiang Qiong smiled and said, I stand on the side of the winner. You don't have to worry. I can keep our outer city safe. There are too many great monks in this city, and the demons will not attack from this direction. Guan was relieved when he heard it. He smiled and said, as long as it doesn't endanger my medicine valley. Are you scared? I told you to practice more, but you didn't listen. Practice can't be rushed. Humph, you are just lucky to have a master like me. Before you leave, go find Xuanwu. I have already prepared a batch of cultivation pills for you to help you improve your cultivation. You are already 50 years old and have not formed a pill. You are really useless. Don't say you are my disciple in the future. Thank you, master, Guan said with a smile, but complained in his heart, have you ever heard of a 50-year-old in the 9th level of the fusion realm? I'll scare you to death if I tell you. Next, Guan asked how high the cultivation level of the strongest person in the demonic path was, but Jiang Qiong didn't know either. She said frankly that if Baitian was there, the demonic path would definitely not dare to invade, but now the leader is Chu Tianqi, and the battle between the strongest people of the righteous and the evil will be difficult to distinguish. This sentence made Guan mourn for the demonic path. Baitian is not dead yet. By the way, master, have you heard of the Yellow Spring Demon King? Guan suddenly asked. Jiang Qiong thought for a moment and shook his head, I haven't heard of it. What's wrong? Nothing, I just read it in a book. It's said to be very powerful. Since you don't know, forget it. I should leave. Guan replied, then stood up, saluted, and turned to leave. Jiang Qiong looked at his back, thoughtful. Since talking with Jiang Qiong, Guan's worries about the battle between good and evil have subsided a lot, and his life is still so ordinary. 3 months later, in late autumn, there are still a lot of yellow leaves piled up in the 3rd Medicine Valley. In the early morning, Guan was leading his disciples to practice exercises, and Tian Lao was also participating. Only Guan noticed that his body was stronger than before. This guy's cultivation has reached the 9th level of the Jingtao realm. I really don't know how he practiced. When Guan was here, he didn't cause any fluctuations in spiritual energy. After the exercise, Guan asked the disciples to disperse, and he walked towards the attic. 16 ancient gold-eating insects surrounded him, making him seem to be shining with golden stars. As soon as he walked downstairs, he stopped. 2 figures rushed from the horizon. They were the deputy sect master Tian and the elder Guzong. Old Tian, who was checking the herbs in the garden, looked back, but he only took a glance and then retracted his gaze. After Guzong and the others landed, they called Guan upstairs to talk. After entering the house, Guzong cast a ban as usual. Bang! Tian slammed the table, causing Guan's heartbeat to speed up. Damn it! Do you have to slam the table every time you come? Guan really wanted to perform the great Yin-Yang transformation, transform into a demon cultivator, and beat Ji Hantian violently. The tables and chairs in this room are all made of fine wood. If they are broken, he will feel bad. Chu Tianqi has gone too far. I didn't expect the entire Chu family to be rotten. Panon, you must write a book about this matter and show it to the world. As the authentic sect in the world, Taixuanmen sect must be supervised by the world. Ji Hantian said angrily, come again. Guan was silent. It seems that he should not have shown mercy at the beginning. Gu Zong sat down and said unhappily, why are you in such a hurry? You really don't know what he is doing. I think you just want to be the leader of the sect. This time, you are not allowed to use Panon as a sword master. Panon is already the banner for Taixuanmen sect to recruit disciples. This banner cannot become a sword for Taixuanmen sect to fight for power and profit. Guan looked at Gu Zong. He still listened to his words. Ji Hantian sighed and said, I really want to be the leader of the sect. I feel that if I become the leader of the sect, I will definitely make Taixuanmen sect better. Look at what Chu Tianqi has done. Some of his subordinates have refined the greedy demon ghost, and some want to sacrifice an outer sect. I thought he was the sword master of Fudao before, so I believed him, but I didn't expect that he was not. Now the demons are coming in full force. The unfavorable remarks about Chu Tianqi have been circulated in the sect, and people are in turmoil. Taixuanmen sect is in danger. Refine the greedy demon ghost. Guan was surprised. When he heard Chu Jingfeng say it before, he thought it was the enemy of the Chu family who was creating the greedy demon ghost. Now it seems that there is another hidden story. Is it an internal fight in the clan, or a self-directed and self-acted? Chu Tianqi is indeed disappointing. When he severely punished the descendants of Chu Xian, I thought he was destroying his relatives for the sake of justice. Now I think it's just self-protection. But it's difficult to touch Chu Tianqi. Many people in the Elder Hall were supported by him, and he has a very good relationship with Tian sect. Gu Zong shook his head and said, hearing this, Guan was confused. What on earth were these two people acting? What was the point of telling such a thing to an outer disciple of his? They were probably acting to stir up his emotions, make him angry, and voluntarily expose the darkness of Taixuanmen sect. The two continued to criticize Chu Tianqi, talking about all of Chu Tianqi's evil deeds. Guan couldn't help but feel angry as he listened. If Chu Tianqi really did this, it would be unforgivable, but Guan remained rational and remained unmoved. Gu Zong looked at Guan and said, the Taixuanmen sect may encounter disasters in the future. There are too many herbs planted in your third medicine valley, and someone must guard it. We are going to send 50 Jindan realm cultivators to guard the third medicine valley. What do you think? Ji Hantian added, the Gu family and the Ji family will each send 25 people. By the way, Xiaoyu is also among them. He can help you guard the medicine valley and stay away from the war. Thanks to Chengmen Ding for rewarding 500 starting coins, and book friend 2022082221585319 for rewarding 200 starting coins. Today's update starts. Chapter 84, Soul Gathering Divine Finger, You Are Mine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 50 Pilforming Monks. Guan naturally would not refuse. After all, he could not stay in the third medicine valley all the time. He immediately thanked the two Gu sects. Half an hour later, the two Gu Zongs had just left, and Guan saw them out of the house. After they left, Mr. Tian came over and asked curiously, Grain Master, why do they want to see you? In the past, Mr. Tian would not ask, but now his cultivation is not only rising, but he also dares to ask about important matters of the Valley Master. It seems that he is really making a comeback. Guan pretended to hesitate, and then told what he learned. Chu Tianqi's crimes were exposed by the demons and spread wildly around Taixuanmen. The 5 major sects of the demons prepared to join forces with the demon clan to besiege Taixuanmen. All kinds of deeds came out of his mouth, and combined with his worried expression, it seemed that Taixuanmen sect was about to be in disaster. Mr. Tian comforted him and said, Master of the Valley, don't worry too much. Taixuan sect has stood on this land for thousands of years. It has experienced many dynasty changes. There are also records of being besieged by demons several times in history. It can always turn danger into safety. Hearing his words, Guan really felt at ease. That's right, if there is a tall man holding up the sky when it falls, I will just plant herbs with peace of mind and provide the sect with medicinal materials for making elixirs. This is the only contribution I can make. Guan shook his head and laughed. Mr. Tian smiled and nodded. He admired Guan's character. But since the devil is coming, the danger is still unavoidable. Valley Master, I have a set of fingering techniques that are sharp and tricky. If the enemy is careless, he may be able to cross the realm and kill the enemy. Let me teach you. Mr. Tian continued. Guan had not learned fingering yet, so he was naturally interested. He couldn't help but curiously asked, Mr. Tian, why do I feel that your background is not simple? The more you know, the more you can do. I just live a long time, so I naturally have some knowledge. Mr. Tian smiled grandly. He no longer felt timid in the past. Guan felt the courage of the master of the sect from him. Later, Guan followed Mr. Tian into the nearby mountains and forests. In Mr. Tian's words, this method cannot be taught to outsiders, so he made an exception and taught it to Guan. After entering the woods, Mr. Tian began to talk about the power of this fingering technique, gathering spirit finger. This finger can gather spiritual power and spiritual energy on the finger, ready to go. The longer the compression time, the stronger the lethality. In theory, there is no limit. After hearing this, Guan became more interested in the soul-gathering divine finger. Guzong and Ji Hantian moved very quickly. 2 days later, 50 monks in the Dan Formation realm arrived, including Guzong's son Guyu. Guyu first came to Guan's attic to look for him. You are so proud that you asked the Gu family and the Ji family to each send 25 disciples of the Danjie realm to protect you. These people are not just disciples of the Taixuan sect, they are all descendants of the aristocratic families. Guyu sat down. Joked, Guan replied, I guess it's not to protect me, but to protect this medicine valley. Does Taixuan sect still have such a big medicine valley? Yes, there are, but there are certainly none in the outer and inner gates. The main reason is that your identity as Pan deserves the attention from above. If it's because of Pan An's identity, wouldn't it expose me by making such a big show? 2. In fact, Guan felt that Taixuan sect protected not the Medicine Valley, but the 7th level spiritual tree in the Medicine Valley, the Xianqin tree. Guyu no longer dwelled on the matter. He mysteriously took out a book and said, Guan, you really need to read this book. It's so exciting. It even has illustrations. Guan took one look and was speechless. Taixuan's secret biography. Guyu changed his mind and did not ask about the latest situation of Taixuan Immortal Lord. Guan had the urge to ruin Taixuan Immortal Master's work. He suppressed his displeasure and accepted Taixuan's secret biography. After simply turning a few pages, he was attracted. Good guy, Shenzhen actually stole his teacher. Those pictures actually use comic action techniques, which can make people think of a whole set of actions and make people think. He gave a fake cough, closed the Taixuan secret legend, put it in his arms, and said, we'll see it later. The devil is about to invade, and I don't have the time to read it. Guyu secretly despised him and said, yes, but you must keep this book. Taixuan sect is conducting strict inspections recently, so it is difficult to buy this book. Do not worry. The two chatted for a few more words and then went downstairs. Guyu flew to the place where he was stationed, and Guan began to inspect the herbs along the way. The 3rd Medicine Valley is so big that he can pick it almost every day now, but he is used to harvesting it once a week. Anyway, even if the herbs are mature, leaving them for a week will not have much impact. An hour later, Guan was walking on the mountain trail and felt Ji Xiaoyu's breath. After hesitating for a while, he felt that he should say hello. Ji Xiaoyu saved him and gave him talismans, formations, and a batch of medicinal herbs. It was unreasonable not to say hello. After wandering for more than half an hour, Guan finally arrived at the top of a mountain. Ji Xiaoyu, dressed in purple, was meditating on the edge of the cliff, with her back to the third medicine valley, and a formation was formed around her to prevent Guan from crossing the boundary. Greetings to Miss Third. Guan bowed his hands and saluted. He directly threw a lifespan probe, Ji Xiaoyu, 5th level of Dan Formation Realm 50/1400/8900, the 5th level of the Dan Formation Realm. It's really fast. Ji Xiaoyu turned her back to him and said, don't come to see me in the future. You are the owner of this medicine valley, so there is no need to be polite. If Third Miss needs anything, you can always come to me or talk to the disciples in the valley. Guan responded. Ji Xiaoyu responded. Guan suddenly didn't know what to say, so he was about to leave. Ji Xiaoyu suddenly said, Ji Han Tian is my great-grandfather. If he has excessive demands on you, you can come to me. After all, you are my man. Guan quickly replied, the deputy sect leader did not embarrass me. I know him too well. He has been using me to build momentum since he was a child. After knowing that you are Panan, he will definitely not give up using you. In the future, if you encounter anything difficult to refuse in Taixuan sect, you can use my name to shirk it. Ji Xiaoyu's words made Guan smile. Another backer. Write another Fengshen Yeni. I think you write this kind of book best. Ji Xiaoyu said coldly, so you are also a reader? Guan agreed and said that he was already preparing. Go down. Hearing this, Guan immediately bowed and left. In the evening, Guan came to Tian Valley. Today is the harvest day again. It is expected to harvest 5,000 or 6,000 years of life. As soon as he entered the valley, he felt a long-lost breath. Li Xiandao. Why is he here? Didn't they say that there was a demon riot in Changluo, Zhangzhou? Valley Master, His Majesty is here, go to the house to see him. Luo Hun shouted standing halfway up the mountain. Guan nodded at him, then walked quickly towards the attic group. Li Xiandao was staying in his attic, accompanied by Lvcn and Yi Luyan. Seeing Guan enter the house, Li Xiandao smiled, raised his hand to signal Lvcn to shut up, and then smiled at Guan. Guan, long time no see, is your practice going well? Guan bowed respectfully and said, of course it's going well. Your Majesty has given me so many herbs, and I have already reached the 3rd level of the foundation building realm. 3 levels are not enough, you have to work harder. As long as you reach the 9th level of the foundation building realm, I can help you form a pill. Thank you, Your Majesty, I will definitely work hard. Guan deliberately didn't look at Lvcn while answering. Lvcn stared at him, as if he wanted to eat him. His eyes were both angry and resentful. After teaching Guan for so long, Guan didn't learn anything. If Guan hadn't come only once or twice a month, he would have suspected that Guan was deliberately making trouble for him. Li Xiandao motioned Guan to sit at the table, and Guan sat down without hesitation. Lu Xian and Yi Luyan were still standing, which made Lu Xian even more dissatisfied. Li Xiandao looked at Guan, and after a look, he asked softly, has there been any major events in Taixuan sect recently? Guan frowned and hesitated. I heard that the demon sect is going to besiege Taixuan sect, and there are bad rumors about the sect master in the sect. He told the details of what he heard, but did not mention his 3rd medicine valley. After Guan finished speaking, Li Xuandao's smile became even wider. He smiled and said, Chu Tianqi is arrogant and looks down on everyone. Even his clansmen are regarded as pawns by him. It is not surprising that he did these things. The people I arranged in the demonic path also sent news that at the end of the year, the demonic path will launch a general attack on Taixuanmen. Guan began to ponder Li Xuandao's attitude towards Taixuanmen. He asked in confusion, isn't the demonic path afraid of Fudao Jianzuan? It is said that Fudao Jianzuan is the best swordsman in the world. Li Xiandao shook his head and said, of course I am afraid, so I didn't take action until now. The true identity of Fudao Jianzuan has been spread in the demonic path. Although that person is very strong, he is not yet invincible in the world. That person? Guan was stunned. Someone replaced Laozi's reputation. Li Xiandao looked at Guan again and said earnestly, the war between good and evil is about to break out. Logically, I should let you evacuate, but Liya is still here, and I also need you to help me keep an eye on Taixuanmen. I will arrange a Yuanying realm cultivator to protect you. How about it? Guan hurriedly thanked him, and then said, Uncle, actually not necessary, I am just an outer disciple, and the demons don't know me. If you arrange a Yuanying realm cultivator, I will be noticed by the great demons. Don't worry, this person is proficient in the method of restraining breath, even if the realm is much higher than hers, it will not be detected. Li Xiandao waved his hand, can't refuse. Guan looked at Li Xiandao and weighed it secretly. Li Xiandao continued, you are my person, I must not let you get into trouble, this person has a very good relationship with Lian, and you can take her to see Lian at that time. Since it has come to this, Guan naturally cannot refuse. After an incense stick of time, Guan took his leave and began to pick those mature herbs. Li Xiandao could also see Guan's diligent figure in the house. He sighed, this kid is calm and steady in his work, and I like him very much. You must take good care of him. Lv Xian couldn't help but said, Your Majesty, you are warning me. I just want to ask, who is more important in your heart, Lian or His Royal Highness the Crown Prince? Luyun frowned, but did not stop Lu Xian. Li Xiandao smiled and said, both are important. What are you worried about? Lian has not stayed in Changluo and cannot threaten the Crown Prince, unless... Unless what? Unless Lian practices the Imperial Sword technique. Thanks to the book friend 2023030380115254669 for rewarding 100 starting coins. Continue later. Chapter 85 Covering the Sky and the Sun, Swallowing the Sky Bird. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Can you become the heir apparent by learning Huangji swordsmanship? Guan eavesdropped while picking grass. He is very familiar with Huangji swordsmanship. I'll ask Lian when I have time in the future. If Lian wants to fight for the throne, he can give me some advice, etc. This old guy is uneasy and kind-hearted. Guan secretly felt something was wrong. He suddenly suspected that Li Xiandao had told him on purpose, and that the attic was not isolated by restrictions. He remembered something more. Li Xiandao's ambition was to become an immortal emperor. For the emperor, the biggest threat may be the prince. Even if he has not cultivated immortality, the emperor of a mortal dynasty will be afraid of the prince when he gets old. There are not many princes who can successfully inherit the throne. Could it be that Li Xiandao wanted to use Lian to kill the prince? It's really possible. Guan stopped thinking about it and concentrated on picking grass. Let the father and son fight on their own. Because Li Xiandao was there, Guan did not leave immediately after picking the herbs. He left early the next morning. When he left, Li Xiandao had not left yet and said he would stay for a while. He suspected that Li Xiandao wanted to watch the show about the battle between good and evil. After returning to Xian Valley, Guan explained a few words to Wu Xian and others, saying that the devil was about to attack and asked them not to run around on weekdays. This made all the disciples, including Wu Xian, very nervous. Guan plans to stay in Xian Valley overnight from now on. The third Medicine Valley has Mr. Tian and 50 pill-forming monks there, so it is very safe. Xian Valley is different, with only a group of handyman disciples. Nowadays, the proportion of life income provided by Xian Gu to him is getting smaller and smaller, but the 8 views cave heaven below Xian Gu is different, and even if Xian Gu's life income is not much, he is reluctant to throw it away. 10 days later, the Yuanying realm monks arranged by Li Xiandao arrived at Xian Valley. Guan stood in front of the wooden fence and looked from a distance. A woman in green clothes wearing a bamboo hat came towards her with a sword in hand. The cold wind blew her clothes, making her aura even more extraordinary. Yang and I, 9th level of Nascent Soul Realm 214/780/1360, 200 years old in the Nascent Soul Realm, he has very good qualifications. Guan thought silently as he walked towards Yang and I. I, Guan, am the owner of this Medicine Valley. I wonder who your friend is. After Guan approached, he raised his hand and asked. Yang and I suddenly appeared in front of him, and he deliberately pretended to be frightened and took a step back. Let me see your other Valley Master token. Yang and I said in a voice message. Her voice was cold but also very pleasant. Just by hearing her voice, you could tell she was a beauty. Guan immediately took out Tianya Valley's token, and Yang and I took it away, inspected it, and returned it to him. I was sent by His Majesty to protect you. From now on, I will be the outer disciple by your side. Yang and I said again. Guan nodded and said, it turns out that Elder Han recommended you here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. After saying that, he turned around and led Yang and I towards the attic. Yang and I followed his footsteps, and other disciples in the valley cast curious glances. Yang Ni's image made people want to take a few more glances. After entering the house, Guan closed the door and said, everyone in the valley is in the Qi training realm, so don't worry. Yang and I raised his hand and waved, and his spiritual power turned into a cyan restriction stamped on the door. Very cautious. After doing all this, Yang and I walked to the table, put down the sword, and took off the hat. Her white hair fell down like a waterfall. She turned to look at Guan. Her appearance was very young, and she looked like she was 20 years old. Get ahead, her facial features are pretty and delicate, but her eyebrows are cold, giving people the feeling of an iceberg beauty. That coldness makes it easy for people to ignore her beauty and dare not look directly at her. She looked at Guan and asked, I heard that you have a good relationship with Lian. That's right, senior brother Li was also a handyman disciple in this medicine valley before. We came in on the same day. Guan replied. When Yang and I heard this, a smile appeared on his face. This smile was quite stunning. Guan didn't think much about it. After all, the Ji Xiaoyu he knew was more beautiful. That boy has been stubborn since he was a child and can't get along with his brothers and sisters. I didn't expect to be able to establish friendship with a handyman disciple like you. Yang and I admired. That's right to say. Yang and I took out a cyan jade bracelet from the storage bag and said, this is a top-grade magic weapon. It can store spiritual power. It can be used as a greeting gift. Store spiritual power. It's quite rare. Guan quickly waved his hand and said, this can't be done. Senior is here to protect me. How dare I accept the gift? Take it as you are told. Lia's mother is my sister. You and Lia have a good relationship, so naturally you are my descendant. Yang and I said impatiently. She threw the jade bracelet to him directly, then turned and walked towards the bookshelf. You can go about your business and don't worry about me. Guan caught the jade bracelet and wanted to say that this is my building and it is not convenient, but looking at Yang Ni's posture, it was obvious that he wanted to stay here, so he had no choice but to give up. Ever since he met Shenzhen, Guan would no longer leave invisible things in the building, so he hesitated for a moment and turned around to leave without disturbing Yang and I. Yang Ni's joining did not break the rhythm of life in Xiangu, because she rarely left the house and did not communicate with other disciples. When Guan was about to go to the third medicine valley, she insisted on going with him, so Guan could only take her with him. After arriving at the third medicine valley, she was shocked and began to look at Guan again. This handyman disciple is not simple. Guan was not afraid that she would tell Li Xiandao. Maybe Li Xiandao had already found out about the third medicine valley, and it would be difficult to hide this matter. Anyway, he has a clear conscience. If Li Xiandao was suspicious of him because of this, he would not be afraid. In his heart, he was far less afraid of Li Xiandao than he was of Taixuanmen. In this way, Yang and I followed Guan to inspect the medicine valley, watching him pick herbs and sow seeds. After a month, Yang and I developed some good feelings for Guan. Guan was too honest and treated the errand disciples gently. Such people were not a threat to anyone, so she understood why Lia liked Guan. Days passed, winter snow fell, covering every medicine valley of Guan. Li Xiandao said that the demons would invade Taixuanmen at the end of the year, which made Guan worry about this every day. Maybe one day, the demons would attack. This day, Xian Valley, Guan and Wu Xian were leading the disciples to shovel snow. Yang and I stood in front of the wooden fence in the distance and watched, holding the sword in both hands. Brother, what realm is this outer disciple in? Wu Xian asked in a low voice beside Guan, very curious. Yang Ni's standing posture looked very strong. What does it have to do with you? This is my disciple, don't want it. Guan said unhappily. Wu Xian chuckled and said, brother, you still understand me. When will you arrange a foundation building disciple for me to help me? I will be so impressive wherever I go. If I really arrange it for you, do you dare to accept it? Hearing this, Wu Xian seemed to think of something, smiled awkwardly, and stopped talking. Guan continued to shovel snow. After a while, he seemed to feel something and frowned slightly, but he did not stop the work in his hands. Yang and I in the distance also noticed something, jumped up and flew to the top of the mountain in the south. Her action caused everyone in the valley to look up. The snow was flying, and the sky and the earth were plunged into white. From the valley, Yang Ni's figure standing on the top of the mountain was very blurred, as if she would be swallowed by the blizzard at any time. What's wrong with her? Wu Xian couldn't help asking Guan. Guan looked up and said, I don't know either. Wait until she comes down and ask her. Coo! A burst of light bird calls sounded, echoing between heaven and earth, and even the sound of the wind could not cover it. The sudden sound of birds made everyone frown and look around, trying to find the direction of the sound. Wu Xian seemed to think of something, his face changed drastically, and he hurriedly shouted, everyone go back to the house. Quick! As he spoke, he pulled Guan to run towards the attic. Guan broke free from his hand and said, you go in first, I have to watch the medicine valley. Wu Xian turned around and said anxiously, that is the monster of Qianqiu Pavilion, the sky-swallowing bird, which is definitely not something that the Foundation establishment realm can deal with. You go back first, I won't fight it. Don't forget your identity. Guan said in a deep voice. Wu Xian heard it and could only grit his teeth and turn around and run. Soon, Guan was the only one left in the valley, and those disciples were lying on the windowsill looking at the sky, very nervous. Guan had already felt the breath of the sky-swallowing bird, very strong. Comparable to the void realm. Whoosh! A gust of wind came from the south, sweeping the medicine valley with rolling snow waves. Guan felt distressed when he saw the swaying herbs, but Yang and I and other disciples were there, so he couldn't expose his cultivation. He could only go to the highest grade herb garden and protect them with the spiritual power of the foundation building realm. At this time, Yang and I appeared beside him out of thin air, then took out a big flag, stuck it in the ground, and raised his palm to inject spiritual power into the flagpole. The big flag waved, forming a light curtain to cover them, and the wind and snow were directly isolated. Yang and I breathed a sigh of relief, turned his head to look at Guan, and scolded, are you crazy? What do these herbs have to do with you? Don't you feel the demonic energy? Guan replied, I feel it, but I can feel it, and the great cultivators of Taixuanmen sect must be able to. Boom! The terrifying wind pressure suddenly came. Guan looked up. Wu Xian and other disciples were the same, and everyone stared with wide eyes. The vast snow fog was dispersed, and a terrifying giant bird that covered the sky and the sun appeared in the sky. It was passing by Xian Valley. Because of its huge body, Xian Valley fell into darkness, and it could not get out of the darkness in a short time. Even Guan was shocked by the size of the swallowing sky bird. From his eyesight, the swallowing sky bird's wingspan exceeded 100 miles, which was very exaggerated. There were also many breaths of demon cultivators on the back of the swallowing sky bird, at least tens of thousands of people. The direction it was heading was exactly the outer gate city of Taixuanmen. The swallowing sky bird of Qianqiu Pavilion is a 6th-level demon with the demonic power to destroy the dynasty. This is the first time I have seen it. Yang and I looked up at the demon in the sky and muttered to herself, and there was fear in her eyes. Guan did not respond. He was staring at the swallowing sky bird, hoping that this guy would not target his Xian Valley. When the swallowing sky bird flew over Xian Valley, the sun shone down, illuminating the medicine valley, and then the flying snow fell, as if the vast white fog was coming. This scene made all the disciples in the valley feel relieved. Guan has already sensed the aura of a great monk fighting in the distance, crossing the void realm. And there are more than 2. It is very far away from them. The battle should come from other outer gate cities. Thanks to Feng Qinhua for rewarding 100 starting coins and Luo Zishi for rewarding 100 starting coins. The third update. The average subscription has exceeded 9,000. Please subscribe to support, and update at least 9,000 words every day, and see if you can increase it later. Chapter 86, First Test of Divine Finger, Demon Lord Su Lian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The outer gate city, the outer sect disciples were standing on the city wall, including Lian and Jingtao. They frowned and looked into the distance. Not only them, but all the disciples were looking in the same direction, as if facing a formidable enemy. The mountains and rivers are covered with heavy snow, the wind is howling, and the outlines of the mountains are faintly visible amid the tossing snow. Gugu, the mysterious birdsong sounded again, like the ghosts and gods from the underworld approaching, making the disciples on the wall beat like war drums. Gradually, shadows appeared in the other half of the white world, which moved all the disciples. Then, what is that? Jingtao asked tremblingly, her voice was very low, as if she was asking herself. Lian's eyes also widened. She felt that she had seen a lot, but she was still shocked by what she saw now. The huge shadow seemed to be a black ocean approaching, boundless, and the two ends connected to the end of the world, and the mysterious birdsong became louder and louder. Anyone facing such a huge black shadow will feel scared, as if the abyss is approaching. An immense coercion came from the city, causing the disciples to turn their heads in shock. They saw flying swords flying into the air, dozens of them, swirling with golden spiritual power. With a bang, dozens of flying swords flew into the air. The flying swords burst out together, and the golden spiritual power gathered together, like a huge golden phoenix flying over the city wall. This golden phoenix has a wingspan of hundreds of feet and is magnificent, but the terrifying shadow it flies to the horizon becomes insignificant. The golden phoenix tore through the flying snow along the way and hit the terrifying shadow unstoppably. Immediately afterwards, golden light burst out, and a strong wind roared in, mixed with wind and snow, forcing the outer disciples on the city wall to raise their arms to shield themselves. Your Majesty the Demon Emperor, what are you waiting for? A cold voice sounded, covering up all the noise in the world. On the roof patching platform, Demon King Xuanwu stood up slowly. In the distance, the fifth-level monk of the crossing void realm opposite him also stood up, and their eyes met. I didn't expect that your excellency is the legendary Demon King of Underworld. He is really well hidden. The Taixuanmen elder said coldly. He raised his right hand, and a jade ruler appeared in his hand. Several more Taixuan sect monks stood up, all exuding an aura far beyond the realm of gods, causing other monks on the stage to stand up and retreat. Epiphyllum Ghost Mother is also retreating, looking no different from ordinary monks. He. Demon King Xuanwu let out a sneer that made people go numb. His calm face quickly became distorted, and waves of demonic energy poured out from his robes and spread in all directions. Rumble, there was thunder in the sky, and rolling thunderclouds were seen coming from all directions, squeezing the flying snow in the sky, forming a majestic white mist, as if there were two heavens, and it was extremely oppressive. The Demon King of Xuanwu looked up with a sarcastic look on his face. He squatted down suddenly and slapped the ground with his palm. In an instant, the vast demonic energy covering the patching platform surged violently, and evil ghosts crawled out from the demonic mist. Let out a roar that shook the world. The war between good and evil breaks out. Inside the mysterious valley, Guan was leading his disciples to inspect the medicinal herbs when a strong wind blew up, causing the snow on the mountain to continuously slide down, and the roar in the distance continued. Yang and I stood next to Guan, not shoveling the snow, and kept staring at the sky, frowning. Wu Xian approached Guan and said nervously, "Brother, this movement is a bit loud." Guan was also cursing secretly. Didn't Jiang Qiong say that it would not affect this outer gate city? Why does he feel that the devil is invading from here? Don't worry, Taixuanmen will not be easily breached. Guan comforted him. He felt that there was a very strong demonic aura in the outer city, and he didn't know where the demonic aura came from. Wu Xian was worried, but he didn't stop moving his hands. This was the result of Guan's years of education. The sky is gradually covered with thunderclouds, causing the flying snow to weaken, which is a good thing for Xian Gu. After all the snow in each park was shoveled, Guan asked Wu Xian to gather all the disciples together, while he and Yang and I stood far away. Can Taixuanmen really be able to withstand it? What's that sound? It's so scary. I don't know what the current situation is in the outer gate city. Fortunately, we are in Medicine Valley. It's hard to say. There might be demon cultivators targeting us later. Shut up, Crow's mouth. The disciples were nervous and frightened, unable to calm down at all. Various situations such as the great monk's battle pressure, demonic aura, demonic power, etc. stimulated their senses. They had never experienced such a feeling. Guan glanced at the disciples 100 feet away, then looked at Yang and I beside him, and asked via voice transmission, "With your strength, how strong an enemy do you think you can deal with? As long as they are not gods, I will kill as many as they come." Yang Ni's answer was domineering, but Guan couldn't be happy, because there will definitely be a deity appearing. At this time, a figure flew from a distance at an extremely fast speed and quickly fell into the valley. If it wasn't Lian, who could it be? "Senior brother Li!" Wu Xian shouted in surprise. Lian is an inner disciple and a genuine master of the Dan formation realm. How could his arrival not excite Wu Xian? As for Yang and I, in Wu Xian's eyes, he is at the foundation building level and is definitely not as good as Lian. Lian ignored Wu Xian and quickly came to Guan. He looked at Yang and I with his eyes and frowned slightly. He then looked at Guan and said urgently, "Junior brother Gu, evacuate. It's too dangerous here. Now everyone, there is a battle between the outer city and the inner city, and a spy appears in Taixuan gate, using a teleportation formation to teleport the enemy in." "Huh? Lian doesn't know Yang and I?" Guan said solemnly, "No, I can't abandon the Medicine Valley, and even if I want to escape, where can I escape to?" To be honest, Lian's arrival was both touching and a headache for him. Guan really didn't panic when the demon invaded, he just thought it was difficult to take action because there was someone nearby. "Isn't it easy to hide? You definitely can't stay in Medicine Valley," Lian said in a deep voice. Guan shook his head and said, "If you want to hide, you can hide. Senior brother Li, you don't have to save me at all. I can't abandon my disciples, that there are more than 20 handyman disciples in Xuanwu. It is not easy to transfer them together, but they can be used as excuses by him." Lian was about to speak when Yang and I suddenly said, "Someone is coming." Lian subconsciously looked up, and Guan did the same. I saw the rolling thunderclouds in the sky forming a huge whirlpool. A figure fell down from the whirlpool, and its target was Xuanwu. The figure fell like a meteor from the sky, landing on the top of the mountain on the north side, causing snow and fog to rise. "Wu Xin, you are really easy to find. I didn't expect you to be hiding here. I wonder where you got the courage to go to Taixuan sect and work as a spy." A contemptuous sneer echoed through Xuanwu, causing everyone to look at Wu Xian in shock. The disciples around Wu Xian were in an uproar and retreated one after another. Wu Xian looked at the person on the top of the mountain with an ugly face, his eyes full of hatred. The man on the top of the mountain was wearing a blood-striped black robe, with disheveled hair and handsome features, but his eyebrows were sinister and his smile was even more ferocious. He looked down at Wu Xian as if he were looking at a reptile. "White Centipede, first level of Nascent Soul Realm 203/790/980. Guan looked at the results of the lifespan test without panicking at all. He dared to let the other party enter the valley because he realized that the other party's cultivation level did not pose a threat. He just wanted to be on the safe side and test his skills again. Lian frowned. He looked at Wu Xian from a distance, murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Wu Xian seemed to know how powerful White Centipede was. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "I'll go back with you, don't hurt other people." "That's not okay. The order I received is to kill everyone in Taixuan sect, including the insignificant handyman disciples." By Centipede licked his lips and sneered, "And who said they would take you back? Today you will be buried here with them." "Brother, I can take your head back." Snort, a cold snort suddenly sounded, which made Centipede's pupils dilate in shock. He glanced subconsciously and saw a woman in green appearing out of thin air beside him, drawing her sword and slashing at him. "It's Yang and I." He jumped away immediately, but his arm was cut and blood splattered. Yang and I continued to attack, and the two started fighting on the top of the mountain. Sword energy overflowed, and the demonic energy dispersed like mist. The two soon flew to high altitude to fight. Lian couldn't help but look at Guan and asked, "Who is that person?" "Your mother's sister is called Yang and I, don't you know her?" Guan replied in a low voice. When Lian heard this, his expression was astonished and he murmured, "Why is it her?" Guan looked at his expression and was secretly confused. What's the meaning? Don't they have a good relationship? Guan didn't ask, but said, I'll go to the woods and have a look. There are many medicinal herbs planted in them. After saying that, he ran towards the forest. Lian wanted to call him to stop, but Yang Ni's fighting held his heart back. Damn it, Lian cursed lowly, jumped up, and went to support Yang Ni. In fact, Yang Ni suppressed by Centipede and beat him without him taking action. In less than 10 breaths, by Centipede was already covered in blood. Even though he was casting spells at full speed, Yang Ni's body skills were so superb that he could always easily dodge. Seeing Bai Senti in such a mess, Wu Xian's eyes widened. He didn't expect Yang Ni to be so powerful. Where did senior brother find such a powerful monk? The other side, Guan came to the edge of the woods. He turned his back to Xuanwu and looked towards the mountains in the distance. He raised his right hand, pressed his middle finger with his thumb, and began to aim into the distance. He felt the aura of a realm of crossing the void hundreds of miles away. He didn't know why it was staying, but it was definitely not good. He is too close to his medicine valley and must be killed. It's time to try the spirit-gathering divine finger taught by Tian Lao. He has already mastered the soul-gathering divine finger. Even if he is not skilled, it should not be difficult to kill a void realm demon cultivator. The spiritual energy was compressed in front of his middle finger. He did not gather the surrounding spiritual energy for fear of alarming Yang Ni and others. Hundreds of miles away, on the flat ground between the mountains, a group of demon cultivators gathered here and were building a formation. There was an extraordinary demon cultivator standing aside, watching quietly. His name is Lian, and he is one of the demon lords of the Tian sect. His cultivation has reached the 4th level of the crossing the void realm. His right hand is playing with a ball of white flame, and his face is indifferent. A Tian sect disciple came over and said softly, Master, it takes at most 1 stick of incense to form a formation. Demon Lord Lian said indifferently, form up the formation as soon as possible and prepare. Before he finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed and he subconsciously turned his head to look. Thanks to Wandering June for the reward of 300 starting coins, Just Seeking Freedom for the reward of 233 starting coins, Book Friend 20190724011160 for the reward of 100 starting coins, and Song Bing Shu for the reward of 100 starting coins. Chapter 87, Mr. Tian's Determination and the Overwhelming Demons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Demon Lord Lian spoke, his mind had already drifted to the inside of Taixuanmen sect. This battle was related to the destiny of Huanin sect for thousands of years, and even the rise and fall of it. He can't wait to join the battle. But before he finished speaking, he instinctively felt the terrifying and dangerous aura and glanced subconsciously. Everything happened so fast. He, a great monk at the 4th level of the void crossing realm, had no time to react. In his eyes, a translucent air current was coming at an incredible speed, passing through the mountains, distorting the heaven and earth. He saw, the disciple standing in front of him was still looking at him, and the other disciples who were building the formation all stopped. Everything fell into silence, except for the breath of death approaching so quickly. Boom! A cloud of air ripped through the sky and hit the flat ground between the mountains. Demon Lord Lian and the demon cultivators were directly crushed into ashes. A strong light burst out, flooding the surrounding mountains and swallowing everything in its path. Above Xian Valley, Yang Ni, Lian, Bai Senti and others who were fighting were startled. They distanced themselves one after another and turned to look. A spectacular bright light appeared on the horizon. They felt a terrifying pressure coming from them, which made their faces change. Upheaval. Lian quickly flew to the forest below, and he quickly found Guan. Guan hid behind the tree, pretending to be shivering. Seeing that he was okay, Lian breathed a sigh of relief. Just as he was about to speak, a terrible strong wind came from the distance, causing the woods to tilt back and the mountain peaks to tremble. Lian quickly came to Guan's side and used his spiritual power to resist. What happened? Guan asked through gritted teeth, his tone full of panic. Lian's face was solemn and he said solemnly, I don't know. Maybe there are great monks fighting. At this time, lines of prompts popped up in front of Guan's eyes. You successfully captured the 47-year lifespan of Demon Lord Su Lian, 4th level of the Crossing Realm. You successfully captured the 35-year lifespan of Zhang Zongworm, 2nd level of Dan Formation Realm. You successfully captured the 42-year lifespan of Qin Yuan, 6th level of Dan Formation Realm. There are a total of 26 people. The lowest cultivation level is still at the Dan Formation Realm, including 2 nascent Soul Realm monks. Sin. Guan secretly confessed that it was not because he wanted to go on a killing spree, but who told these guys to get close to his Medicine Valley. The strong wind continued for a long time. After the storm subsided, Lian stood up straight and whispered, "It seems that now we can only hide in Medicine Valley. There are dangers everywhere. I'll just say it. Follow me into the valley first." Lian dragged Guan and walked into Xian Valley. As soon as the two entered the valley, Yang and I dropped from the sky, holding a head in his hand that was dripping blood, and by Centipede's nascent soul hung on the blade. She was so murderous at this moment that the disciples in the valley did not dare to approach her. Yang and I threw by Centipede's head in front of Wu Xian, then shook her sword, shattering by Centipede's nascent soul. She raised her sword and pointed it at Wu Xian, and said coldly, "Do you have any last words?" Wu Xian turned pale with fright and trembled all over. "Stop!" Guan quickly rushed over and stopped in front of Wu Xian. Yang Ni's eyes were cold and he said, "He is from Qianqiu Pavilion. But he has been with me for decades and has never harmed us. He probably has a last resort. When this matter is over, I will let him leave Taixuanmen." Guan gritted his teeth and said with a look of risk. His words made Yang and I frown. Wu Xian was very moved. He didn't dare to look at the other disciples. At this moment, he wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl in. Yang and I took a step forward, and the tip of the sword was about to reach Guan's throat. Guan glanced at Lian and shouted, "Senior brother Li, please say something." Lian came over with a frown, pushed Yang Ni's sword away, and said, "Just follow him." The demon cultivator just now obviously had a grudge against Wu Xian. Snort. Yang and I sheathed her sword and turned around. Guan turned back to look at Wu Xian and said, "I'm sorry, senior brother can't keep you in the future. You will be tortured when you return to Qianqiu Pavilion. Find a place to hide your name anonymously. As long as you are kind in your heart, you can do it no matter what your background is. A good man." His words were so serious that Wu Xian's eyes turned red. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed to him. Lia's brows relaxed and he sighed slightly. Yang and I glanced at Guan with some surprise in her eyes. Listening to Guan's words, it was obvious that Wu Xian's identity had been known for a long time, and Wu Xian didn't seem to want to become a Qianqiu Pavilion monk. Guan pulled Wu Xian up and asked him to hide inside the house to prevent any Qianqiu Pavilion monks from recognizing him again. Lian looked at Yang and I and asked via voice transmission, "Why are you here?" "You still have to ask. Tell him I don't want to fight for the throne. But he said that he was sorry for your mother and must pass the throne to you. The prince is virtuous, has outstanding abilities, and has 3 spiritual roots. He is the most perfect prince. It's no use telling me this." The two communicated through voice transmission, and Yang and I kept staring at Guan, wondering what he was thinking. Lian sent a message to remind him, "Don't hurt my junior brother, otherwise don't blame me for turning against you." Yang and I ignored him. After the white centipede attack, Xuanwu became silent. The disciples gathered in the courtyard, whispering and discussing Wu Xian's identity. The disaster in Taixuanmen's sect continues, and battle pressure breaks out from more and more directions. Guan has been paying attention to the Qinghong sword at his waist. Fortunately, the Qinghong sword did not react like the Bailing Jian was in danger. An hour later, there was still no demon cultivator coming to Xian Valley again, and Guan couldn't hold himself back any longer. He found Lian and told him that he was going to another Medicine Valley and asked Lian and Yang and I to guard Xian Valley. Lian knew that the Medicine Valley in the inner gate was definitely safer than the Xian Valley, so he nodded in agreement. Yang and I didn't bother Guan this time. In her heart, Lian was naturally more important. Before leaving, Guan left an ancient gold-eating insect in the house. He has established a soul connection with every ancient gold-swallowing insect, and can obtain the situation of Xuanwu at any time through the ancient gold-swallowing insect. After stepping onto the teleportation array, Guan quickly arrived at the 3rd Medicine Valley. As soon as he arrived, He heard deafening roars from all directions. He opened his eyes and saw clouds rolling in the sky. It was obviously winter, but there was a scorching heat of summer filling the air. Seeing him coming, Xuanwu immediately came up to him. He suppressed his panic and asked, "Senior brother, what should we do?" Guan noticed that Mr. Tian was still there and immediately stopped panicking. He immediately threw a lifespan check and replied, "Don't panic, trust our sect, Lu Baitian, 9th level of nascent soul realm 754/1560/3200. My goodness, this realm has jumped so fast. Stable." Guan thought this in his mind, and at the same time he was curious about where the spiritual energy absorbed by Mr. Tian came from. He asked Xuanwu to stay nearby and not run around, while he walked up to prepare to patrol the Medicine Valley. When passing by Mr. Tian, he felt a very hidden and powerful surge of spiritual power in Mr. Tian's body, which made him secretly frightened. Mr. Tian did not absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. His spiritual power was born out of thin air in his body. This feeling, it was as if there was an entrance to another world in Mr. Tian's body, and a steady stream of spiritual power poured out from the entrance, which was very strange. What kind of skills does this guy practice? "Valley Master, there's a war going on, don't run around." Mr. Tian's voice came. He turned around and looked, and saw Mr. Tian sitting in meditation under the tree with his eyes closed. His state was completely different from usual. His body became straight, and an indescribable aura of a strong man was born. "I'm going to take a look at those herbs. They won't wander around." Guan dropped these words and left in a hurry. Mr. Tian opened his eyes and looked at his back, with relief in his eyes. "With such disciples here, how can I bear the destruction of Taixuan sect?" Mr. Tian muttered to himself, and Guan, who ran 100 feet away, heard this. Guan's expression remained unchanged, as if he hadn't heard. He really cares about herbs. The 50 core formation realm disciples guarding the Medicine Valley were all fighting, including Ji Xiaoyu and Gu Yu, and they were all fighting against many. The situation was somewhat urgent. Along the way, Guan quickly checked the herbs along the way. He picked any herbs that were about to mature directly to avoid being affected by the battle and being destroyed. That would be a loss of blood. On the way forward, Guan heard a high-pitched roar. He looked up and saw fiery red unicorns appearing on the horizon. There was a human figure hidden in the front unicorn. It was Ji Xiaoyu's figure. Qilin step. She took one step forward. Her figure was like a ghost. The fiery red unicorn collided with a demon cultivator in the realm of pill formation, directly causing him to shatter into pieces, and the golden core was burned together, which was extremely domineering. Guan felt that her aura and speed were no less than those of low-level monks in the nascent soul realm. Ji Xiaoyu seemed to feel his gaze, and during the battle, she actually glanced at him. She steps on Qilin's steps, holds a sword in both hands, and casts spells with the sword. No one is her opponent. Gradually, more and more demon cultivators came towards her, and various spells came towards her from different directions. With great force, Ji Xiaoyu's eyes condensed, and a powerful wave of energy suddenly erupted from her body, knocking all the surrounding demon cultivators away for several miles. The Foundation Establishment Realm demon cultivator even exploded and died on the spot. She raised the sword she was holding in her right hand and stabbed it into the sky. The vast spiritual power burst out along the blade and soared into the sky, condensing into the vision of a golden disc with a diameter of more than 10 miles, and all kinds of unfathomable things inside it. Of runes, with Guan's eyesight, he could tell at a glance that the energy wave that Ji Xiaoyu had just used was a magical power, the power of heaven and earth. Previously, Jiang Qiong stole the magical secret of the heaven and earth Dao Gang at Ji's birthday party, and Guan would also go there to learn about it. As for the magical power behind the Dao Gang of heaven and earth, he has never seen it, but he can feel that it contains power beyond the realm of pill formation. This woman's talent and understanding are truly terrifying. Those in the Dan formation realm can master 2 magical powers. Golden dragon phantoms burst out from the golden vision, as if the dragons were coming from other worlds, rushing to kill the demon cultivators in all directions, causing those demon cultivators to evade in panic. Someone cast a spell to resist, but his spiritual power was torn to pieces by the golden dragon. He was then hit by the golden dragon, and then swallowed alive into the dragon's mouth. Because they were phantoms, Guan could see the demon cultivators who were swallowed into the dragon's belly. They were burned alive by the mysterious golden flames in the dragon's belly, and not even their ashes were left. After Guan traveled 10 miles, with Ji Xiaoyu as the center, there was no demon cultivator within a radius of 5 miles. She killed hundreds of core formation realm monks and more than 300 foundation establishment realm monks in one breath. This was just what Guan saw. She had been fighting for a long time before he came. Ji Xiaoyu was suspended in the air, holding a sword in both hands, panting slightly, sweat dripping from her white forehead. She suddenly turned around and frowned slightly. Following his gaze, he saw countless monsters and evil spirits coming from the sky like a black ocean, so dense and overwhelming that it was impossible to count how many there were. In front of the demon army, there was a man in black robe with a bone sword under his feet and a black flag in his hand. The Ji family's Qilin steps, Heaven and Earth Dao Gang, and Tianlong Demon Suppression Phase. You have mastered so many powerful methods at such a young age. If you are allowed to grow up, you will be able to cover the sky with one hand in the future. That the black-robed man's cold voice sounded, and a terrifying pressure erupted, covering the world and everything. Chapter 88 Angry Guan, Lu Baitian arrives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Guan, who was picking herbs, looked up when he heard the black-robed man's words. With a wide field of vision, he could see the man's face clearly, so he threw a life probe at the man. I want to see what level of cultivation you have. You are so arrogant. Su Ju, 9th level of the Crossing Void Realm 982/2200/2300, 9th level of the Crossing Void Realm. Something. Guan looked from a distance and had no intention of taking action. Perhaps there was a great cultivator in the Ji family staring at Ji Xiaoyu. Ji Xiaoyu looked at Su Ju with indifferent eyes, not afraid of the other party's almost overwhelming momentum. The Tianlong Zhenhua phase on her head began to descend, then stood up and floated behind her. Half of the golden dragons emerged from them and surrounded her, making her look like the Lord of the Dragon Group, majestic and awe-inspiring. Su Ju saw Ji Xiaoyu preparing to fight and smiled disdainfully. He raised the black flag in his hand and was about to speak when a cold snort resounded through the world. Su Ju, you are the deputy leader of the Wanyin sect. Don't you feel ashamed to bully a junior, deputy leader of the Wanyin sect? Guan thought of what Lin Futian said before, that Su Rui's father was already the deputy leader of the Wanyin sect, so it was him. Guan continued to move forward while thinking. Su Ju raised his eyebrows and snorted, Ji Chen, I didn't expect you to come too. It's time to settle our grudges. He jumped up and drilled into the thundercloud. Then, a deafening roar came from above the thundercloud. The boundless thundercloud began to surge violently, and from time to time, rainbows of light pierced through the sea of clouds and sprinkled on the world. The mighty demons roared, and all rushed towards the third medicine valley like unbridled beasts. The breath of these monsters and evil spirits was not weak, running in the air, full of oppression. Ji Xiaoyu raised his sword, and the golden dragon in the Tianlong demon-suppressing phase immediately rushed out and killed into the demon army. Unstoppable, however, there were too many demons and evil spirits, and the golden dragons could not kill them all. After raging for more than 10 miles, they dissipated as their spiritual power dissipated. Guan entered the woods to clean the snow in the forest park. Many herbs were crushed by the snow, which made him extremely distressed, and at the same time, the killing intent in his heart began to grow. Fighting is fighting, making trouble is making trouble, but don't destroy my herbs. Guan's heart was trembling. While he was distressed about the herbs, Ji Xiaoyu had been surrounded by demons. She did not cast spells again, but fought with the 2 swords in her hands, 1 sword and 1 demon, 1 sword and 1 demon. With great momentum, other Jingtao-level disciples began to come to support and help her, but the number of disciples was still insignificant compared to the demon army. Gugu, the sound of the sky-swallowing birds suddenly sounded, covering the roars of all monsters and evil spirits. Guan was annoyed when he heard it. Why hasn't this guy been killed by the great monk of Taixuanmen sect yet? Just then, Guan suddenly felt something and turned his head to see that more than 30 miles away, a cat demon that was cut in half fell into a garden. It was jumping in pain and crushing a piece of medicinal herbs. His eyes condensed, and a sword energy emerged from the ground. killing the cat demon, he looked up and found that there were more monsters falling, like rain falling in the range of the third medicine valley. Gu En's face suddenly darkened, and his right foot moved to the side, at the same time. The battle in the sky was still fierce. Gu held a long whip in his hand, waving it like a dragon. He shouted loudly, "Everyone, do you have a backer? Hurry up and shout, my father is blocking the demon in the cold poison valley, that the disciples fighting here are all from the Gu family and the Ji family. They all have backgrounds." Without him urging, some people have taken out secret treasures and started to summon helpers. For a while, all kinds of streams of light or dazzling spiritual lights burst out and shuttled through the battlefield. Ji Xiaoyu, who was fighting, suddenly looked down. Her face changed slightly. She saw that the mountains and rivers below were showing a little green light. These green lights were growing rapidly, as if a green ocean was about to emerge from the ground, which was very spectacular. Far away, Tian Lao, who was meditating under the tree, suddenly opened his eyes, turned his head and looked towards the direction of the battlefield, and his brows frowned. What a vast spiritual power! Is it from the Gu family or the Ji family? Tian Lao was confused. He could feel that the vast spiritual power was to protect this medicine valley, so he was not nervous and continued to practice. Green spiritual power covered half of the third medicine valley. Even the errant disciples near the attic area could see this scene from afar. What is that? Is this a spell? It seems to be protecting our medicine valley. It should be our own people. What kind of battle is going on over there? On the edge of the third medicine valley, on a mountain peak, Shenzhen stood in front of the cliff. From where she was, she could overlook the vast sea of spiritual power. She immediately took out a pen and paper and began to draw. Suddenly, her pupils shrank suddenly, and she saw countless green sword chi bursting out from the green spiritual sea. Countless green sword chi rose into the air, which was spectacular. Whoosh! 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 The sound of sword chi tearing the air resounded throughout the world. The disciples of the Gu family and the Ji family were terrified and hid, but they soon discovered that these sword chi were all directed at demons. One by one, demons and evil spirits were killed, and blood-colored fireworks bloomed in the sky, which was extremely sad and beautiful. Ji Xiaoyu stopped and looked at the green sword energy around her, secretly shocked. What kind of magic is this? The spiritual power contained in these sword energies is beyond her reach. She feels that even her great-grandfather is far inferior to them. Those green sword energies are not only able to rise into the air, but can also chase and kill demons. In less than 10 breaths, the world was silent. Countless green sword energies were suspended in the air, and blood mist filled the air, but it could not cover up their existence. The sword energy dissipated, and there were no more demons or evil spirits. All the fighting disciples were shocked and looked around blankly. In the forest, Guan exhaled lightly. This wave of consumption was a bit large. Not only did he have to use it, but he also had to control the sword energy so that it would not hurt the disciples of Taixuanmen sect. Looking at the prompts that popped up crazily in front of him, his face turned black. You successfully took away the 2-year life of the resentful cat demon, 3rd level. You successfully took away the 1-year life of the flying winged snake, 2nd level. You successfully took away the 1-year life of the greedy dog, 2nd level. All of them have a life of 1 or 2 years, and the proportion of 2 years is extremely small. The life of those evil spirits is completely invisible. What's going on? Guan frowned, thinking of the big flag in Su Ju's hand. Could it be that these demons are not normal creatures? If you think about it carefully, this is the inner gate. How could the demons lead so many demons and monsters to kill in? It can only be that powerful demons came in and summoned them with some magic. But even so, Gu En's lifespan began to grow rapidly. After all, the number of these demons is here. At this moment, Gu En suddenly had the urge to kill people everywhere. This way, he can earn lives quickly. But he still stopped this idea. Excessive killing is easy to cause killing disasters. He should keep the previous way of becoming stronger, without enemies, and become stronger in a low-key manner, because he didn't know how far away the highest realm of this human world was from him. It was better to be cautious before he became invincible. Putting himself in other people's shoes, when he saw an ant on the ground growing rapidly by swallowing other insects, he would definitely kill it. And the ant couldn't see him in the sky, just like he couldn't see the existence of a higher realm, couldn't see the immortals. As long as the Xianhuang dragon Qigong can be upgraded, it means that there are still people in the world who can see through the hidden methods of this skill. Keep calm, don't waste time. Guan only relies on planting flowers and grass. Maybe the growth rate is not the fastest solution, but it must be the most stable. While picking and planting, as time goes by, he can grow to the strongest without enemies. He no longer thinks about it, and continues to check the herbs in the mountains and forests and push away the snow. When all the prompts fall, his lifespan increases by more than 50,000 years in one breath. He just saw that the demon army has at least 200,000 people, which means that most of the demons in it are not alive. The means of the demon are really evil. With the annihilation of the demon army, the crisis of the Third Medicine Valley is temporarily lifted, but Su Ju and Ji Chen's battle continues above the sea of clouds, and the two are hard to tell who is better. Above the sea of clouds, Su Ju holds a black flag, surrounded by majestic demonic energy, and dazzling golden light shines on his face. Following his gaze, there was a dragon-suppressing demon image floating in front of him, which was more spectacular than Ji Xiaoyu's dragon-suppressing demon image. The golden dragon emerging from it was lifelike, as if it was a real dragon. In front of the dragon-suppressing demon image, there was a man in a robe, with his back to the golden light, making it impossible to see his true appearance. He was like a real immortal, looking down on the world. Your demon reincarnation array is just like this, it can only bluff. Ji Chen said indifferently, and then he raised his hand. The dragon-suppressing demon image behind him burst out a golden light, drilled into his hand, condensed into a long halberd, and exuded a scorching golden flame. Su Ju snorted coldly, suddenly turned around, turned into a ball of demonic energy, and quickly flew to the horizon. Ji Chen immediately chased after it, with the golden dragon in front, as if a group of golden dragons were dragging the sun forward. The light shone on the world, and the divine power was mighty. After Ji Chen and Su Ju left, the Third Medicine Valley finally returned to peace, and Guan continued to be busy. An hour later, Guan came to a small river and moved all the snow nearby into the river to let it melt. Suddenly, a figure appeared beside him. He pretended to be frightened and staggered back 2 steps. "Is it you?" "You?" Guan asked in astonishment after seeing the face of the visitor clearly. "Lu Baitian, Dushu Realm Level 2754/1950/3200, what kind of speed is this?" Old Tian was still wearing cloth, but his body became burly, his dry hair fluttered, and he gradually regained his vitality, and even his skin became younger. Under Guan's gaze, his face quickly became decades younger, and his face looked as if he was only in his early 30s, with a head of white hair fluttering like silver silk. "Transform, transform." Old Tian raised his chin slightly, lifted his feet off the ground, looked down at Guan, and said, "Do you hate these demons?" Guan's mind was like lightning, pretending to be uneasy and nervous, and replied, "Hate. In that case, how about I take you to destroy the demons?" "You, who are you?" "Old Tian is just a temporary name I gave. My name is LV Baitian. Have you ever heard of it?" Thanks to Jiqiu Dizizi for rewarding 233 Qidian coins. The third update. Here it comes. Chapter 89, Become my disciple and you will be the next sect leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Well, pretend. Guan looked at the arrogant Lu Baitian and thought blankly. Lu Baitian raised his chin higher, thinking that his arrogance had shocked this boy. "Are you the former sect leader who went crazy?" Guan asked, pretending to be shocked, obsessed. Lu Baitian's face twitched, and he snorted, "That was done on purpose by me. But you are just practicing qi cultivation now, how can you destroy the devil?" "Boy, I just compressed my spiritual power into my soul and pretended to be obsessed with it. I just want those people to see what Taixuanmen's sect would be like without me." Lu Baitian's tone was full of contempt, obviously directed at the elder Hull. Guan was silent. How many innocent disciples died in the dispute between Lu Baitian and the elder Hull? "Let's go." Lu Baitian raised his hand to grab Guan's shoulder, but he was so shocked that he quickly backed away. "I won't go, it's too dangerous. Guan shook his head, he has to guard the Medicine Valley. Lu Baitian said with a joking smile, don't you want to see how the battle between good and evil ends? Guan shook his head wildly, like a rattle, and waved his hand, I'd better stay and guard the Medicine Valley. Don't worry, your Medicine Valley will be fine. I just sent out Aura, and a great monk has already come. Lu Baitian no longer claimed to be his own, and his tone became gentler. Guan did feel that the aura of crossing the void realm was approaching quickly. The foundation of Taixuanmen sect is really strong. How many cultivators of the crossing void realm are hidden there? Lu Baitian struck again. Guan could see his movements clearly, but he couldn't avoid them and could only obey. Grasping Guan's shoulders, Lu Baitian took him and disappeared into thin air. During the process of being caught, Guan's black and yellow dragon qigong was operating to the extreme, hiding the golden elixir and soul, making him look like a genuine foundation establishment monk. The fact is that he was overly worried and Lu Baitian did not take the opportunity to check his body. After 10 breaths, Lu Baitian stopped and took Guan to a main hall. The main hall is spacious, and the stone pillars on both sides are surrounded by real dragons, phoenixes, unicorns, and auspicious beasts that Guan doesn't recognize. Lu Baitian let go of his hand, stepped forward, and said, you wait here, my skill has not fully recovered yet. Guan could tell through the lifespan test that he had not yet returned to his peak, but these words came out of Lu Baitian's mouth and seemed nonsense. You haven't recovered yet, so you're just pretending to me? You still exude aura, aren't you afraid that your enemy will take this opportunity to kill you? Wait, this guy is acting so recklessly, and you still have to take him with you. Wouldn't you know that he is Fudao sword master? Guan suddenly broke into a cold sweat when he thought about it. He stared at Lu Baitian walking up the steps and meditating on a golden chair, as if he were a 95 supreme and arrogant person. He could see that Lu Baitian was indeed practicing, and the spiritual power in his body was being released rapidly. The main hall fell into silence, while Guan pondered Lu Baitian's intentions. After a while, Guan felt 2 breaths approaching quickly, and one of them felt familiar to him. And how? The aura of the other person has reached the state of integration. He didn't look back, just walked to the stone pillar next to him and waited. After a few breaths, 2 figures flew into the hall. Guan raised his eyes and threw a lifespan check directly. Thunder shock, first level of fusion realm 1465/2700/2750. Thunder shock. He had never heard of it at all, and Guan thought it was the sect leader Chu Tianqi who came. From this point of view, Chu Tianqi's cultivation level is probably higher. Guan felt that his cultivation at the 9th level of the fusion realm was not stable. After this calamity is over, you have to work harder to preserve your lifespan. Being the strongest in Taixuanmen sect is not enough. He also has to survive the demon catastrophe later on. Thinking of this, Guan feels the pressure. Lu Baitian, you are still alive. Lian walked towards Lu Baitian and spoke, his voice as loud as a bell. He has a burly body, wearing a brocaded black robe, with a mysterious and ferocious animal head on his back, and a thunder in his mouth, making him look even more domineering. 16-year-old and Hao is much taller. He is wearing a corseted blue robe, his long hair is tied high, and 2 strands of black hair are fluttering like sword wind. His face is handsome, and the sharpness between his eyebrows cannot be hidden at all. Guan looked at him now and felt very happy. He looked so handsome, like me, and Hao noticed his gaze and couldn't help but look at him and nodded slightly. Lian, do you want me to live or die now? Lu Baitian's voice sounded. He did not open his eyes, and his tone was very indifferent, more oppressive than when he faced Guan. Lian stood in the hall, looked at Lu Baitian, narrowed his eyes and said, in the crossing void realm, it seems that you are still affected. Lu Baitian didn't answer him. The atmosphere in the palace became subtle, and Hao came to Guan and asked through a message, brother, who is this man named Lu Baitian? Guan looked at him in surprise, don't know yet. And Hao followed the message and said, I was captured. Master asked Elder Lei to protect me. We were evacuating, but Elder Lei suddenly changed his face and brought me here. Guan couldn't help but ask via voice transmission, do you think our voice transmission technique is useful in front of them? When Hao heard this, he couldn't help but look at Lian. I saw Lian's robes fluttering slightly, and a terrifying momentum was brewing that could explode at any time. Lu Baitian, since you have faked your death, don't come back again. Taixuanmen doesn't need you. As Lian finished speaking, the main hall door slammed shut, and a vast aura enveloped the entire hall, causing Hao's breathing to stagnate. In front of the younger generation, you want to attack my former master, Lv Baitian's voice sounded, and he did not open his eyes from beginning to end. Lian stepped forward and said, it's just right for him to see the cruelty of the world of immortal cultivation. He rushed to Lv Baitian, raised his right palm, and slapped Lv Baitian's crown, boom. The two powerful spiritual powers collided with each other, raising a terrible strong wind, causing the entire hall to tremble violently. Guan pretended to be unable to bear it, and Hao moved and blocked in front of him, using his own spiritual power to fight against and protect him. This kid. Guan looked at Hao's back and felt relieved. Although Hao was only 16 years old, he was already at the 5th level of the foundation building realm. In terms of aura, Guan felt that he was not inferior to the cultivators at the 8th level of the foundation building realm. Unfortunately, he was facing the momentum of the fusion realm, and Hao gritted his teeth, but was still pushed back by the momentum of Lian and Lv Baitian. Guan seemed to feel something, and looked forward, only to see that Lian, who took the initiative to attack, was trembling all over, and his momentum was rapidly weakening, but another momentum was increasing. At an exaggerated speed. Lv Baitian. You, can't be. Lian suddenly exclaimed, his tone was unbelievable and full of despair. Lv Baitian, who was sitting in front of him, slowly stood up, his feet left the ground, floated up, and looked down at him. Lv Baitian's expression was so indifferent, the 9th level of the virtual realm. Lv Baitian's cultivation level increased by several levels at once. Not only that, he was impacting the fusion realm. To be precise, he was just releasing his true strength, and Hao was also attracted by Lv Baitian's figure. His eyes were full of surprise. You cheated me, the anti-fate magic. Lian trembled, shocked and angry. Lv Baitian looked down at him and taunted him. Lian, you are still as reckless as before. Your recklessness has killed so many people. You have never learned a lesson. Today it is your turn to bear the consequences. I wanted to wait for Chu Tianqi to come, but I didn't expect you to come to me first to die. In this case, I will accept your cultivation. Don't go too fast in the underworld. Chu Tianqi will come to accompany you soon. After the voice fell, Lv Baitian raised his right hand and pressed Lian's forehead. Lian struggled desperately, but he couldn't get free at all. Not only that, Guan could see that his soul was also struggling. Lv Baitian was suppressing Lian's body and soul with incredible magic skills, and then devouring his spiritual power. Guan was also terrified. What kind of skills is this? Boom! Lv Baitian's momentum rose to a new height again, and Lian knelt on the ground. His body shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his wild black hair quickly turned pale, the 1st level of the fusion realm. At the same time, Guan and the others felt the pressure drop sharply. Lv Baitian was restraining his momentum to prevent them from suffering, and Hao breathed a sigh of relief, and he stood in front of Guan, watching quietly. Guan felt helpless. He still taught too little. In this situation, this kid didn't want to escape, but continued to watch the show, which made him unable to complain. Lv Baitian's momentum rose steadily, and on the contrary, Lian's momentum also weakened rapidly, and the amplitude of the tremor in the hall began to weaken. After a long while, Lian's spiritual power was completely drained by Lv Baitian. When Lv Baitian stopped, his body fell back and rolled down the steps. He raised his head with difficulty, and his weak face was full of pain. He raised his hand towards Lv Baitian, as if he wanted to beg for mercy. Lv Baitian raised his right hand and flicked his index finger at him. A blood-colored energy burst out, piercing his forehead and shattering his soul, gathering spirit finger. Guan felt that Lv Baitian's aura had reached the 3rd level of the fusion realm, and there was still a great spiritual power flowing out of his body. In other words, Lv Baitian's cultivation was definitely not just the 3rd level of the fusion realm, which was an existence that could make the entire demonic world fear him. Guan was secretly alert, fearing that Lv Baitian would go crazy and attack him. After all, Lv Baitian's son Lv Xian was not normal. Lv Baitian ignored Hao, looked at Guan, raised the corner of his mouth, and said, What do you think? Am I qualified to destroy the demonic world now? Guan pretended to be nervous and replied, you are the master, so you can. He took a step and walked in front of Hao. Guan, worship me as your master, you will be the next master. Baitian looked down at Guan and said in an irrefutable tone. Guan was immediately overwhelmed when he heard this. He smiled bitterly and said, Master, I have mediocre talent. No matter how you cultivate me, I can never reach a level of cultivation that will convince everyone in the sect. When you pass the throne to me, it will be a time of chaos in Taixuan sect. Baitian smiled contemptuously and said, what if I pass my cultivation to you before the end of my life? Guan was suddenly confused by his words, but he can't take over as the master of the sect. Even someone as strong as Baitian was forced to fake his death to pass on his position. He doesn't want to get into trouble. And when Baitian's time is up, his cultivation will probably be nothing to Guan. I'm catching a flight today. The flight was originally scheduled for 10 o'clock, but it was delayed until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's very painful. Don't worry, there will be 2 more updates in the evening. The update can't be missed. Chapter 90, Turning the Tide, the Emperor and the Immortal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And Hao couldn't help but re-evaluate Guan after hearing what Baitian said. In his eyes, Guan was too ordinary. He had just stood in front of Guan out of instinct. After all, his master had protected him when he was weak. Such a mediocre person was actually chased by someone to be the leader of the sect. Facing Baitian's gaze, Guan took a deep breath and said, it's still not possible. Sect leader, please forgive me for the sake of our relationship in Medicine Valley. I really don't want to cause trouble. I just want to plant grass in peace. Baitian frowned when he heard it. No one has ever dared to refuse him, and more than once, Guan followed up by saying, I heard from the deputy sect leader that you only like to practice on weekdays. You want to pass the position to me, probably because you want me to help you do things. Why don't you set up another level above the elders, with a limit of 3 people, and let these 3 people decide all matters in the sect? These 3 people are selected from the elders' hall and only obey the sect leader. Then promise that the position of the sect leader can only be selected from these 3 people, so that the elders' hall will not stop it. Baitian's frown relaxed when he heard this. He looked at Guan deeply, but did not answer. His eyes fell on Hao. What's your name, and what's your relationship with Chu Tianqi? Baitian asked, and Hao immediately clasped his fists and replied, my name is Hao, I'm 16 years old this year, and I have been worshipping in Taixuan sect for more than 3 years. Chu Tianqi is my master. This kid is very smart. He deliberately pointed out the time and age when he entered the sect. It not only shows his talent, but also shows that he has a close relationship with Chu Tianqi. Guan thought with relief that if Baitian insisted on killing Hao, then don't blame him for being rude. To be honest, no matter how you look at it, Baitian is not a qualified sect leader, but Chu Tianqi's behavior is even more outrageous. Hao, are you the one with the spiritual root? The peerless genius who was taken away by the elders' hall just after entering the outer sect? Guan seemed to remember something and said in surprise, and Hao nodded, his expression neither humble nor arrogant. He looked at Baitian calmly. Baitian looked at him and said, if I let you become my apprentice, are you willing? Hao immediately replied, of course I am willing, but I can't deal with my master. Although I have met him a few times, we are master and apprentice after all. People have to bow their heads under the eaves. Hao was very afraid of Baitian in his heart. The skills that Baitian used before were too evil. What is the difference between it and the devil cultivation? But he must survive. What is Chu Tianqi? He has only one real master. Baitian smiled. He walked down the steps, and walked towards Guan and the other 2. From now on, you, Hao, will be my sole disciple. As for Guan, since you don't want to worship me as your master, I won't force you. After this calamity is over, if you have any needs, you can also find me. I will visit you often in the future. Lv Baitian smiled, his expression and tone were no longer as domineering as before, like a gentle elder, he raised his sleeves and waved, and Guan and the other two were swept away by his spiritual power. When and how opened his eyes again, he found himself in the sky, with a dark cloud under his feet. Standing in front of him was Lv Baitian, and Guan was beside him. Lv Baitian burst out with a terrifying momentum, alarming the thunderclouds in the sky, and attracted countless cultivators in the city below to look up. He raised his hand and flicked it, and the energy burst out, passing dozens of miles away and killing a demon cultivator in the god transformation realm, and his soul was destroyed along with his body. Gathering Spirit Divine Finger. The soul-gathering finger he used was not as loud as Guan's, but its lethality was no less. He flew into the city and killed demons with a flick of his finger. He was unstoppable, and Hao was stunned. What kind of magic was this? Guan was feeling Lv Baitian's momentum. This guy's cultivation was still growing. More and more people noticed Lv Baitian. The demon cultivators were trembling with fear, and the morale of the Taixuanmen sect was greatly boosted. Who is that? So strong. Wait, isn't that the former sect master? How is it possible? You mean sect master Lu? He is sect master Lu. Hiss, that demon cultivator killed hundreds of Jingtao realm disciples, but he killed them with one finger. What kind of cultivation is this? This momentum. My God. The inner gate city below erupted with a shocking noise. Guan and Hao just stood behind Lv Baitian and admired his killing. The news about Lv Baitian's resurrection spread quickly, and the disciples of the various sects of the demonic path passed the news out one after another. In less than an incense stick of time, all the battlefields in Taixuanmen knew that Lv Baitian had resurrected and were slaughtering people. In another inner gate city, a group of demon cultivators set up a battle array in the ruins. The purple-clothed woman in the lead frowned and looked at the disciples next to her, and asked in a deep voice, "Where is Demon Lord Lian? Why hasn't he formed a battle array yet?" No one could answer her. The other disciples of Tianju's sect were also very anxious. They felt an extremely terrifying momentum in the distance, which frightened them. Yang Ni and Lian, who were far away in Xian Valley, also felt it. The two stood on the top of the mountain, looking at the horizon. Lian frowned and asked, "What realm is this?" Yang Ni did not answer, because she didn't know either. The only thing she could feel was that this momentum was not demonic, but majestic and upright, which meant that Taixuanmen would usher in victory. She was not surprised by this. Since ancient times, Taixuanmen sect has always been able to turn danger into safety. In this land, there is no sect that has stood longer than Taixuanmen sect. Tianya Valley, Li Xiandao, Lu Xian, Yi Luyun, and Luo Hun stood on the top of the mountain, side by side, looking towards the direction of Taixuanmen sect. The magical power of defying fate is really incredible. It is actually the most amazing power in the world. Li Xiandao said with emotion. Yi Luyun hummed, "What a strange skill, it is obviously an evil skill." The unhealthy trend of Taixuanmen sect started from him. Lu Xian nodded and said, "The old man has not been practicing in seclusion, but he pretends not to know many things. The purpose of his pretending to die is probably to clear out the Taixuanmen sect and attack the devil. This is his usual style. He is too conceited. He thinks with his own cultivation, he is not afraid of any storms." Speaking of Lu Baitian, his tone was very complicated. "If that person is still here, Lu Baitian will suffer." Yi Luyun said with emotion. Lu Xian answered, and the two of them talked about Lu Baitian. Li Xiandao looked into the distance with deep eyes. For a long time, Lu Xian realized that Li Xiandao had been silent for too long and said with relief, "Your Majesty, don't worry. Although the old man is strong, his qualifications are not as good as mine. Give me time and I will surpass him sooner or later." Li Xiandao smiled and said, "Then you have to work hard to grow up. I can't wait forever. When I reunite, I will take off the old man's head and present it to His Majesty," Lu Xian said confidently, and Luo Hun couldn't help but glance at him. Dusk. Guan landed on the grass of the third medicine valley and looked up. Lu Baitian and Hao were no longer there. He followed Lu Baitian and killed a circle in the inner sect. Lu Baitian said that since he didn't want to be the next sect leader, he couldn't let him see what happened next, so he put him down along the way. Except for Lian, Lu Baitian has not met any other great monks in the fusion realm for the time being, but the strength shown by Lu Baitian gave Guan a sense of crisis. The relationship between the two is good now, but it's okay. What if they break up? Guan could feel that Lu Baitian had a strong murderous intention, which he did not have when he was transformed into Mr. Tian. I have to say that this guy can really control his nature. Such people are the most terrifying. Guan started to check the herbs nearby while thinking about it. Not long after, a figure flew over and landed next to him. It was Shenzhen. The person who brought you back earlier was Lu Baitian, the previous master of Taixuan sect. Shenzhen asked curiously, with a somewhat excited tone. Guan nodded and asked, "What? Are you very interested?" "Of course, this is my father's lifelong enemy." "How did he come back to life? What did you see following him?" Shenzhen was so excited that he even took out a pen and paper. Guan couldn't help but roll his eyes and said, "Sister, can you keep a low profile when gathering information? You are brave, but I'm afraid. I don't want to be regarded as a traitor." He always felt that Shenzhen was not that stupid or innocent, but she had no reason to harm him, so there was only one possible explanation: black belly. She probably just wants to see others in embarrassment. Shenzhen refused to give up and kept asking Guan. After pestering him for a long time, he couldn't bear it anymore. "Follow me again, and I will write a travel diary of the medicine man. You will be the first woman the hero meets. I will also draw pictures, which will definitely be more realistic than yours." Guan glared. When Shenzhen heard this, her pretty face turned red instantly. She glared at Guan, stamped her feet in shame and anger, then turned and flew away. Guan was stunned. Why didn't he scold him? "This expression doesn't look like he's angry." Guan shook his head and laughed, and continued to inspect the Medicine Valley. Sunset and moonrise. The Taixuan sect was not peaceful that night. When Guan returned to the Xian Valley, he could feel powerful spiritual consciousness passing by from time to time. The demonic auras were decreasing. It seemed that the Taixuan sect was going to win. Under the moonlit night, little snowflakes were falling. Guan and Lian sat on the threshold, chatting in low voices about the history of Taixuan sect. Most of the time, Lian was talking and Guan was asking. Waiting until dawn, Lian's inner disciples received instructions to summon all the inner disciples to return to the city. He had to say goodbye to Guan. After Lian left, Guan looked at Yang Ni and asked through a message, "The war between good and evil is almost over. Is it time for you to go back?" Yang Ni glanced at him and asked using the voice transmission technique as well, "When did I say I would only protect you until the end of this battle? What's the meaning? I will stay by your side from now on." This is what Li Xiandao meant. "Really? You can go find him and ask." Guan was silent for a moment, then he followed the message and asked, "Is your majesty powerful?" That he wanted to understand Li Xiandao in other people's eyes. Li Xiandao wanted to be the eternal emperor, but was suppressed by the Immortal cultivating sect. Isn't the strongest and most powerful person in the Immortal cultivating sect Lu Baitian? Li Xiandao also poached Lu Baitian's son Lu Xian, and Guan felt that sooner or later the two would have a fight. With Li Xiandao's qualifications, it is really possible for him to rise. On the surface, he was only cultivating in the Dan formation realm, perhaps to guard against Lu Baitian. Isn't the duel between these two people a collision between the Imperial way and the Immortal way? In terms of cultivation, he is mediocre, but in terms of imperial methods, he is very powerful. Yang Ni replied via voice transmission, with a mocking tone, clearly complaining about Li Xiandao. Guan was about to ask more when he suddenly felt something, so he said, "If you help guard the Medicine Valley for another half day, I have to go to the outer city. There is a demonic slippery figure nearby. Thanks to just asking for a reward of 2,110 starting coins, Yinzhong Hidden Mountain for a reward of 500 starting coins, Star Spirit Blood for a reward of 100 starting coins, and Book Friend 20230711191099972 for a reward of 100 starting coins. There will be another chapter later.